Ladies, have a seat.
Who owns the house where Mr. and Mrs. Carmona were living?
I do.
Your last name is?
Mamalji.
And you manage it?
That's correct, ma'am.
Okay. This is a single-family home?
Yes.
How long have you owned it?
Actually, I purchased it about a month before they were the first owner, or first tenants.
Did you purchase it from the bank?
Yes.
They rented the house when?
On May 7th was the original date of the deposit.
And what was the monthly rent?
$725 a month.
On what date did they move in?
The move-in date was the 15th. They actually moved in, I believe, the last few days of that month.
When did they move out?
First of this month, they moved out.
When was the last time they paid rent?
They only paid 2 months of rent.
So they paid May to June, June to July.
Yes.
Is that correct so far?
No.
What months did you pay?
We moved in June 1st. The rent was paid
For
June, July, and August.
And August?
And August.
Okay. How much did you pay in June?
$725.
And July?
$725.
And August?
$500.
Why $500 in August?
Because that's what I was told to pay after the $225 for property damage. They said it was owed to me, so they said $500.
Who said it was owed to you?
Well, that's why Mark told me to pay $500. That his brother
You're
will
Mark.
deduct $200.
I am.
Did he give you $500?
I never received $1 from him. Never.
Did you receive $500 from him?
No.
Do you have receipts for the $500?
Cash was given to him in hand. Whatever he did with the cash, I don't know what it was.
What about the $725?
Yes, I do.
You have receipts for that?
Yeah. Deposit slips into his account.
But not for the $500?
No.
Well, then all you can prove is $725 twice.
Okay.
So we're talking about rent for August and September. Now, the issue is whether or not the place was rendered uninhabitable as a result of water leaking into the house. There's no issue that there was water damage. I assume you had insurance on the house. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Did you submit a claim to the insurance company with regard to the water damage?
No.
Why not?
I was actually unaware of the water damage until he verbally told me that they installed a wash machine, and the wash machine had flooded the basement.
Who told you that?
The tenant.
Mr. Carmona?
Yes.
Did you install a washing machine, Mr. Carmona?
No. Prior to renting the apartment, there was a washer already in there, and the washer didn't work. So no washer.
So the answer is you installed a new washing machine?
No.
You did not?
No, though there was a washing machine already in there.
You didn't buy a washing machine?
I bought a dryer.
But not a washing
But
machine?
not a washing machine.
What proof do you have that he installed a washing machine?
Only the proof that he told me that they actually had flooded the basement, it was an accident, and that their new wash machine that they put in.
He said the washing machine that he put in?
Yeah, he said they had a wash machine and dryer, they put it in. He said they tried the one that was in the basement, and it didn't work at all. And I said, okay, that was just free. It wasn't part of the rent. It was just in the basement. I said,
When did you have this conversation with him, sir?
It was over the phone, probably the first 2 weeks that they moved in.
I want you to tell me exactly what you remember of that phone conversation. Who did you have a conversation with?
It was Mr. Carmone had told me they put a wash machine and a dryer in, and I guess in the basin where the wash machine should drain, he said we had to put one in because yours wasn't working, and the discharge
No,
hose.
he said he bought a dryer.
Yes, but on the phone he told me they bought washer and dryer. And I believe my manager was in the basement several times to do checking and painting, and he could witness that he's seen them.
Witness what?
I came in to talk to them about some damages in the basement, some water damage, and the tenant had told me they installed a wash machine, and the discharge hose had fallen on the ground and was blowing water all over the ground, all over their cardboard boxes that were in the basement.
Did the washing machine, Mr. Carmona, empty into a basin?
No, it didn't.
Where did it empty into?
Didn't empty. Didn't work. We tried to turn the water on. The water didn't run through the machine, so we just shut off. Never did a cycle. Never did anything. And the washer just sat there in the same location.
And so you didn't wash clothes?
Laundromat.
I don't believe you.
Okay.
That I don't believe.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Carmona, it is your statement, because you have a counterclaim, and you say that the water was coming in through the walls in the house.
Yes, it was.
I'd like to see photographs of that.
Here's the video.
I actually have video of that.
Of the water coming in through the walls?
Yes.
Love to see it. Because you would agree, Mr. Mamalji, that if water was coming in through the walls of the house, irrespective of whether there was an act of negligence with a washing machine, that would be your responsibility.
Absolutely.
Correct.
And that if there was any damage as a result of water coming through the walls of the house, that would be your responsibility. You would agree with that?
Sure.
Okay. And what you're telling me is There was no water coming through the walls.
We never seen water coming through the walls. There was dampness because it is a basement and it rained for 3 months straight in Indiana.
Well, that's what we're talking about,
right,
sir.
right. And we remedied that problem as soon as we were aware of it.
So that there was water coming through the walls.
I mean, water coming through is not quite the same as a damp wall, but nevertheless, it was damp. There was some minor dampness.
I do have photographs of the wash machine.
Now, the basement is wet as a result of water coming in, not from a washing machine.
Well, no, the basement had flooded, and that got all their boxes wet. There was a good inch of water in the basement floor, but the dampness only creates just dampness.
I'm talking about from the walls. You can see it on the walls.
Oh, like I say, it was very damp, but there was no actual running water that would sit 1 inch deep in the basement, and there's a drain in the basement. So it would just, minor dampness is always in a basement, and Indiana had record rain. They had 3 months of nonstop rain.
Okay. Have you since fixed the house?
As soon as we were aware of the problem, the manager went in.
Tell me what you did.
We were there within a week. We scrubbed all of the walls in the basement, every wall in the basement, and painted every wall in the basement with a mold-resistant paint.
Which I have to see.
And a sealing paint.
I'd like to see the photographs.
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's all the painted ones, and this one. This is after painting. And
These are all the ones after we painted all the walls. And these are the pictures.
Now, did you live in the basement, Mr. Carmona?
Sure.
What happened?
You and your family, did you live in the basement?
No.
The pictures of the living conditions of the basement when they moved in.
I can't see this.
Those are all painted walls white.
It's just white.
We painted all the walls white. That's the living conditions of the house in the basement.
When they left?
Well, yeah.
When they left?
Yes. And if you can see the washing machine, that's our washing machine that has never been hooked up. It's still sitting there.
It's not even by the.
It's
not even by the hookup.
Oh, those are everything that was damaged by the water.
The stuff that you were storing in the basement?
Yeah. That we didn't even have a chance to bring it upstairs because it got damaged. So it all stayed in the basement. There was no point for me to bring it back to my new location.
That's how everything was stored.
Now, mind you, those were boxes down the center.
Shh. Just a second. Did you have renter's insurance?
He took out a policy for us, yes.
He took out a policy for you? Renter's insurance?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, I did. They couldn't afford it, so I told them I would pay for it, and they could pay me monthly on it. And I never did receive a payment, and it was $189 State Farm insurance, and they denied their water claim also.
Just a second. I don't believe the story that you didn't install a washing machine and that the flooding that was caused, the major flooding that caused the damage to this property, was not done as a result of the washing machine. I see water coming through a basement. I've had many basements, sweaty basements. And depending upon the water table, sometimes if it rains, it comes in slowly. But the damage that was done to your property was done as a result of the washing machine.
Incorrect.
That's what I believe.
Okay.
That's what I believe. And that was caused by your negligence.
Okay.
Because you installed it. You hooked it up, and you created the problem.
From the photos they showed you, that washing machine was standing there. It's not even hooked up.
That's correct.
That's right.
That was our washing machine.
Because what he says is, it wasn't hooked up because it wasn't working, so you brought in another washing machine. That's what he says you told him, and that's what I believe, Mr. Carmona.
Okay.
Good. I'm glad.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I actually tried to file a claim, and they said we were denied.
This doesn't say it was denied.
Never got a call, never got a letter. That's all I got.
Please call us so we can discuss the facts of this claim and schedule an appointment to inspect your property.
And his brother Alan claim former tenant Ishmael Carmona owes for rent and late fees. Ishmael is countersuing for loss of property due to water damage.
Go ahead.
I do have some more pictures of the after, and I do have before pictures before they moved in, so you could see the before.
I'd like to see both.
Yes, ma'am.
I also have the policy, and it is in their name. I just paid for it.
These are before conditions.
So why did they deny it?
I don't know. I guess they
These are the
came
rest
in
of
and
the after conditions.
Why did they deny the policy?
Because the house was claimed unsafe to live in. Roof was not good. The water heater wasn't good, so they didn't approve their policy.
You can see the pictures of the house.
And the video that I showed you,
the gorgeous
of
house.
The water already in there was after they came in and painted the walls.
There was actually a hole kicked in the wall in the living room.
Shower head was stolen. Shower rod was stolen. Damage everywhere.
The truth is you lied to your brother. Yeah.
Pictures don't lie.
Even before they moved in this house needs work.
Thank you.
Oh, we did a lot of work on it before anyone moved in. We painted everything. We went over.
It still
every
looks
room.
like it needs work.
I understand it is. It's Gary, Indiana. It's a lower income area.
I got it.
You know,
Okay. And I have the policy.
this is the policy, and it is actually
I'd like
in
to see it.
force. And that's their copy with their names on it.
Did you make any payment on this policy?
Oh yes, it's paid. I talked to the agent, and he said that
You can't tell me what the agent said.
Okay.
You
Sorry
did
about
what you were supposed to do. Now it's up to you to take care of it with the insurance company. He has nothing to do with that.
I actually tried to file a claim, and they said we were denied because
Well, I don't know
it
that.
wasn't
Do you have any proof of that?
right here.
I'd like to see it, please. This doesn't say it was denied.
That's the letter. I filed a claim, and that's what they gave me. That's what they
They
said.
said, "Dear Mr. Carmona, we've received your reported claim and wish to discuss the matter with you, but we were unable to reach you by phone.
Never got
Please
a
keep
call,
the-
never got a letter. That's all I got.
Please call us so we can discuss the facts of this claim and schedule an appointment to inspect your property."
And I was called, and they never showed up.
Your counterclaim's dismissed. Now, I'm moving on.
you, Your Honor.
Your counterclaim's dismissed. He did what he... Put your hand down. He did what he was supposed to do. You paid him zero money. Just be quiet. You paid him zero money for renter's insurance. That's your responsibility. That's not his responsibility. As a renter, you pay a relatively small amount of money, and you... Stop. Sit down.
Oh my God, that's so unfair.
You're jumping.
Because everything he's saying, you're not even letting us prove it. It's not just the basement. It was upstairs that had mold on the walls coming from the ceiling.
I got this
That's what I'm
letter
saying.
after they gave me a 15-day notice.
This says that you had a policy in
I
effect
called-
on
I-
September 24th, 2015.
That's when I
letter
called
did.
August. On September 20-something, I was already in eviction court.
I don't care. You said you had property damage. There
Yeah.
was insurance on the property.
And I called August 3rd after I got the 15-day notice.
This is dated September 24th. They say please call them with regard to your property loss.
I actually did speak to the guy. I was the one that called.
Show me. Hearsay.
Ma'am, he did not have homeowner's insurance. Ask him to prove his homeowner's insurance.
Just to say he doesn't have to prove homeowners.
Because he didn't have it, he
Stand
was
up.
denied.
He doesn't have to have homeowners insurance, madam. This letter is sent to you from the insurance company in your name.
Yes.
Renter's insurance, not homeowners insurance. They don't say you don't have a claim. They don't say you don't have a paid policy. They say we received your claim.
Yeah.
Please call us so we can inspect the property, so we can resolve the claim. You chose not to do that.
By September 24th, we were already out of the property and
So
in a different
what?
state.
So
driving
what?
an
You
hour and a
have
half
photo-
back.
Just a second. So you call them and you say, I'm already out of the property, but I have photographs of our damage. This is our damage.
We do have
Don't
photographs.
show me. This has nothing to do with me. This has nothing to do with him. This has to do with the insurance.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You just said to me the insurance claim is still going forward. If the insurance claim is still going forward, my question to you is, why are you here suing for $5,000?
I have no clue why I'm here.
And his brother Alan say former tenant Ishmael Carmona owes for rent and late fees.
Now, the whole case actually is about rent for 2 months.
and damages.
They went into court with fake leases. Here's the original, and look at the one they submitted.
Did you
Four-star
live? Did
signature.
you live in the house?
Yes, it was
Did
my.
you live?
It was.
Just
I'm
a
the one
second.
that lived there.
Did you live in the house?
Correct.
Who else lived in the house?
Me, him, and our kids.
How many kids?
3 kids.
Did you live there in July?
Yeah, that's when
Did you
we
live
moved
there in August?
Yes.
Correct.
Did you live there in September?
Correct.
Did you pay rent in September?
No, because
Did you
we
pay
were
rent in
evicted.
August?
August was paid for.
But
No, but you have no proof of that. You have proof of paying 2 months' rent, $725 2 times.
and a deposit,
How much deposit?
$725.
$725.
Which is for
We also have
damages, not for rent. The deposit is
Just a
strict-
second. You had other damage that had absolutely nothing to do with him. What he did was leave you all the stuff that was damaged by the water.
and
we
put
had
a hole
other
in the wall
damages
too.
to the house.
Which was caused by the water leak. I'm
Don't
sorry.
shout out again. Let me see.
And you can see by the pictures, there's no mold on any of the wall. It's just a hole kicked in. By
This
the
is,
time.
this is a total of all the repairs that we had to do to get the house back up to like it was.
And this is the lease they signed and notarized. Official
This is
notarized.
the
Turn
original
this in,
lease.
please. I'm not interested in this. Listen to me carefully.
Yes, ma'am.
You have $725. Did you fix this?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. And did you put in a new shower head?
Oh, new shower head?
Yes.
Dumpsters, scrubbing, painting walls.
That has nothing to do with them. I see a hole in the wall and I see a missing shower head. And what happened to the shower head?
They took it out when they replaced the vanity. It was underneath the vanity. We got pictures of the vanity. When it was damaged, they came
With
in
mold.
and replaced it because the roof was leaking. So the damage to the basement wasn't only from so-called washing machine. It was from the roof leaking through the walls to the basement. And there's video and pictures in the laptop about it. It's in the laptop.
And
Just a second. Show me water coming in. Show me. I didn't
Oh, I
see
need
it
the
here.
laptop, yes.
And here's a picture of this is the bathroom vanity, which is upstairs, not located in the basement, and it has black mold all in it. We asked him to come fix it. His brother, Alan, the owner, was under the assumption we got a new vanity, but he
see
bring
that?
us in an old vanity.
Don't put it down.
Yes, ma'am.
And this too. And this is his text message saying for me to save everything so he can make a claim with the insurance company.
Well, that's what the insurance company
No,
told
but that
you.
was mine and his text message through each other. And Alan is telling me save everything and bag whatever else I can save so we can make a claim with the insurance company. Well, the claim with the insurance company after it becomes non-water damage, that it becomes mold. So the insurance company dismissed the claim solely because of
Just a
that.
second. You can't tell me that because the last letter that I have here, which is only a few weeks ago, says we have your claim.
Yes.
Please call us.
We did.
You can't tell me that.
We spoke
a
with-
letter from them denying your claim.
The claim's actually
and the
still
reason,
going.
No.
It's still going.
Well, then what are you doing here if the claim is still going?
What
are you counterclaiming
I don't
for?
know because he first in the first
Just
place.
a second. Don't talk fast. You just said to me the insurance claim is still going forward. If the insurance claim is still going forward, my question to you is, why are you here suing for $5,000?
I have no clue why I'm here.
Judge Judy.
That you bought it foreclosure, you bought it from a bank that needed an awful lot of work. You may have painted the walls and made it look pretty, but there was a lot of intrinsic stuff that was wrong with it.
The house
because
is in
what
very
you're
good
suing
condition.
for is really 2 months' rent and what I consider marginal damage, except for the damage that was done by wet and water, and that they left there.
An extensive
And so
cleanup.
you cleaned it up. Listen to me. You have $725 in order to fix any damage that there is to the house. He's not rebuilding a house that you bought from a bank.
I agree.
Good. Insurance company is going to take care of this. The only question I have to resolve is whether or not they owe you for September's rent. And as far as I'm concerned, they don't. Usually I'm very sympathetic with landlords when tenants live in a situation, even though they say it's untenable, but they live there and don't pay rent. There's a reason people with 3 children who have a nice house, apparently nice house, move out and leave all their stuff in the house. There's a reason, and it's not because they're crazy.
Right, and we remedied all their problems,
All their problems.
within a week.
They
of time.
Your
created
case is
the problem
dismissed,
every
and the
time.
insurance company hopefully will take care of yours. That's all.
What is your excuse when they step out?
Judge Judy.
Our stuff, all of our stuff, like the judge said, nobody packs up their stuff and leaves a bunch of stuff behind for no reason.
Destroyed the house. There was only water damage was from their wash machine.
We kept asking him for a deposit. He wouldn't give us nothing back. We don't have the money.
They're professional squatters.
Slumlords.
Just good riddance. I'm glad they're finally out.
Mr. Bradford,
Yes, ma'am.
the defendant, Miss Bradford, is your sister?
Yes, ma'am.
And you and Miss Gilmore have kids together?
ma'am.
How many?
1,
How old?
14, finna be 15.
And you and Miss Gilmore moved in with your sister and her husband.
Yes, ma'am.
When?
July 8th on my birthday.
Of this year.
Yes, ma'am.
And according to your complaint, there was an agreement that you would pay $450 a month rent.
Yes, ma'am.
And according to your complaint, there came a time in September that
Ye-
they couldn't pay rent?
Yes, ma'am.
So you and your sister and her husband came to an agreement that you and Miss Gilmore would pay the entire month of September's rent, which was how much?
Was $950.
For September, and then they would pay all of October.
Yes, ma'am. Or pay the money back.
Well, that they were going to pay the month of October.
Yes, ma'am.
It is your claim that you paid the whole rent for September and that you were excluded from the house
Yes, ma'am.
in October
Yes, ma'am.
And therefore, your rent wasn't covered
Yeah.
for October.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the first thing. And the second part of it is that you claim that they filed false charges against you with Child Protective Services. You want to be compensated for that. So let me go back to, on what date did you leave your sister's home?
September 25th, Your Honor.
Can you tell me the circumstances surrounding that?
What happened was we were sleeping. Sagunda had called us while she was at work. She
You were sleeping?
like we were laying down. We were sleeping. We were at home.
What time?
About 2 o'clock.
Yeah, around the afternoon time.
2 o'clock.
Do either one of you work?
Yes, ma'am. I work for Select
Direct TV.
Direct TV.
He knows where he works.
In Ontario.
You work at night?
Yeah, I work from 9 to 5 in the morning. So I was tired when I got home when we was laying down relaxing.
So now it's 2 o'clock and you got a call.
Yes, and she had asked if we were going to be leaving as of the 1st. We told her that we would leave only that if I would get my SSI. If my SSI had started, I started
So
getting
she
paid.
wanted you to leave October 1st.
Right.
Did she say why?
Well, she said that her friend was going to come and live with her and help her pay rent, which we were obviously already doing.
Okay, and you have proof that you were paying rent?
Yes,
right.
we paid rent. Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And so we told her that if I get my check started, then we'll leave. If not, we will continue to stay there. At that point is when Sagunda started to say that we had to leave now. Like, we had to leave that day, which was September 25th. And we didn't want to argue about it, so we just packed our stuff up, put it in storage, and left.
Okay. All right, Miss Bradford, you want to tell me your version of what happened on September 25th?
Yes, what they said is not
Just-
true. Oh, okay.
Tell me your version of what happened on September.
My version is I did call him, my brother, to see how was he doing and what he was doing at that time. And it wasn't 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It was 7 at night on my lunch break.
7 at night on your lunch break?
Yeah, I worked over.
Okay, go ahead.
And
So
I
you
called and I called him to see how he was doing. I did not never say they had to get out.
Well, what were you talking about with regard to this friend coming to live with you?
No, I told him, I said, I was talking to him over the phone. I was asking him how he was doing and what he was doing, okay? So he was like, well, you know, I'm leaving on the 1st. I said, you leaving on the 1st? Why would you be leaving on the 1st? You told me you would stay till January, you know? So, I mean, why is this I'm leaving on the 1st thing come from? I never said that he had to get out. I wouldn't throw my brother. I love my brother.
Just a second.
Sorry.
Okay. Miss Bradford, did you pay September's rent?
I paid some of September's rent.
Some.
Yeah.
How much of September's rent did you cover?
500.
You paid $500. Did they put in there part of the rent, $450?
They put $450.
Do you have proof that you paid the $500?
No, because they went in our room and stole all the rent receipts out of there.
Okay, very easy. I'd like to see proof that you paid September's rent. And that's a very easy call. Did you used to pay it to the managing office?
Well, what we did is, when we get the money, we give it to them to go pay it because I work 4 days in Long Beach and my job.
Okay, so you give them the money
Yes.
and they go and pay the rent.
Yes.
And is that what was happening effective July and August?
Yes, but they moved in June.
Is that what happened in July
Yes,
and
ma'am.
August?
Yes, ma'am.
And in September, the same thing. You gave $500.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'd like to see the receipts for July, August, and September. July, August, and September.
We don't have
We don't-
August. We
We
didn't
don't
bring
have
August.
July, August.
Why not?
What it is, Your Honor, we run a transportation business, so this is our...
What transportation business?
It's a non-emergency medical transport.
Who runs it? I thought you worked for DirecTV.
We do, but what happened is before we moved with them, we just closed it down. But what I'm saying is, this is our money that came out of our business before we shut it down. So our receipts...
How long have you been working for DirecTV?
I've been about a month.
Just a second. Hey, you've been working for a month, so you've been working just for the month of September.
Yes.
What were you doing before that?
We just had shut down our business running transportation.
Why?
Because she have seizures, she got sick. My wife's an epilepsy. So, you know, when we buy stuff, like pay our rent and stuff, we had to keep our receipts to write it off at the end of the year.
Yeah, okay, I'm not buying it. Okay, now, I don't have to see it, Bird. Next. Did you call Child Protective Services?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And when did you call them?
I called September or October. I'm sorry, it was October.
Why did you call them in October?
Because I was concerned about my nephew living in a van. They had nowhere to live. They was living in the van up at the store at Stater Brothers parking lot.
Well, did Child Protective Services come out to investigate the van where you were living?
No, ma'am. What happened? My sister put us out. She called me. She said, I got a friend finna move in. And then I said, you got a friend finna move in? I said, well, you know, my wife get her SSI, and then we gonna leave. But what happened is, she told me to get out. She put us out and called.
I don't care. I don't care. She invited you in. She told you to leave. The reasons I don't have to go into now, actually. The reasons I don't have to go into. You needed a place to stay. You lived with your sister. I assume that it wasn't a good fit.
It wasn't.
I assume it wasn't a good fit. So she told you to leave. That's fine. I assume that that's true because otherwise you would not be living in your van.
But no, Your Honor, listen. We was renting from the same owners. Right before we moved with her, we had our place from the same owner right here. Look, right here. If you look at the receipts...
Listen, Mr. Bradford, I don't care. You moved in with them in their home.
Yeah, but you're not listening.
How long had they been living in their home?
Well, I helped them move out.
I don't care. Just answer my question.
No more than about 2 months.
How long had you been living in your home?
No more about 2 months. They just moved out here.
We're done. I assume that they told you to leave. I don't care. My question to you was, did Child Protective Services come out and investigate your living condition?
No.
So they never came out. How do you know they called?
Your Honor, they called my phone.
And?
And when he called me, he said, I have a complaint.
You have a complaint. You filed a complaint that your 14-year-old was living in a van. Did anyone come out to see you?
No.
So then what is your damage?
Because they called on us to make problems worse, and by them calling, they could have had him taken.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Didn't happen. They didn't even come out to visit with you. All right. Let's deal with the counterclaim. What do you think they owe you for?
I think they owe me for my bills.
They don't owe you for your bills. What else? What else?
It meant iPad.
Just a second. What iPad?
iPad that I gave to I let their son use it. I didn't get it back.
Just a second. What do you mean you gave to their son to use it? Describe the circumstances surrounding you giving it to your nephew to use it. Do you understand what I mean,
Yes,
Ms. Bradford? Okay.
Yes.
When did you give it to your nephew to use?
I gave it to my nephew.
What month?
Maybe July.
Goodbye.
Okay.
Thank you. Been nice seeing you all. Go home, be happy, be a nice family.
I watch you every day.
You're a good girl.
Step up.
We in court because my brother is money hungry, he's greedy, and he's trying to take what we have. Nothing.
I ain't saying nothing.
It is because I love my brother and I don't know how he can do me like this.
Because she was wrong.
You know what? This is gone. What's this gone?
I love him. He's just an evil, greedy man. That's all.
I ain't got nothing to say. Just go.
The perfect solution for me is for my brother to come, let me go over there, hug him, and tell him I love him.
I come on here and lose this. Man, please.
And I didn't never want this to happen.
Seat, please.
This is your son, Mr. Poland, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
How old is he?
He's 25.
Who else lives with you other than your son?
Just the two of us.
Are you still living in a property that's owned by Mr. Valdez?
Yes, I am.
When did you move into his property?
I believe it was about October of 2014.
When did you stop paying rent?
I didn't stop paying rent. I had a vehicle that was stolen in December, and it set us back, and that's when we first started getting behind.
I said, when did you stop paying rent? I don't care whether your vehicle was stolen or anything else. When did you stop paying rent? Did you pay rent last month?
Actually, I did work for him to make up for the rent. He owed me
So
money.
the answer is you did not pay him any rent.
Well, that's a form of paying him.
Did you pay him any rent the month before?
Yes.
How much?
Well, the last time I paid any cash was, it looks like it was on September 9th of 2015. I paid $1,250 cash. And also there were payments that he hadn't recorded. There were 4 payments there that he...
So the last time that you paid him any cash rent was September of 2015?
That's correct.
Mr. Valdez, did Mr. Poland do any work for you?
Yes, he did do some work for me.
Tell me what kind of work he did for you and when.
Well, I have a swimming pool at my house, and he was supposed to do some work at my swimming pool electrical unit. And unfortunately, it was a really shabby job, and I had to get another electrical contractor to come out and do it.
Now, what made you hire him to do electrical work in your pool?
Well, he indicated to me that he was an electrician and he could handle the job, which of course he couldn't. But by the same token, Your Honor, this gentleman is not the tenant. His son is the tenant, not his father.
But his father lives with him.
Your Honor, the contract indicates that there are to be no other individuals other than Mr. Poland Jr.
Well, clearly you knew that he was living there if you hired him to do electrical work in your pool, Mr. Valdez.
I thought that he was
Clearly you knew that he was living there.
No, I didn't. I knew that he was there from time to time because they have a joint work business together.
What kind of work?
We do property maintenance.
For whom?
I work for my father.
You work for your father, and your father does property maintenance. For whom?
My two biggest accounts are Golden State Financial and Royalty Management.
Did you work for them last year?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you get a form indicating how much they paid you because you have to start paying your taxes
Yes.
and those?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much did you earn from them last year?
It was about $45,000, the two of us combined.
For you and your son?
Yes.
And what's your rent at the Valdez?
$825 a month.
But the lease is in your name?
Yes.
Now, what violation do you allege, Mr. Valdez, that the Polands committed which caused you to evict them?
Well, there were several things. First of all, they failed to pay rent, and I have a schedule here.
Clearly, they did not pay rent. You did not pay rent either after September. Is that true?
Yes.
Fine. So, on what date did you move to evict them?
I believe it was in September of October.
Well, you hired him to do work for you in October.
Right.
Well, why would you have hired him to do work for you if you were going to evict him?
He guaranteed to me that he could do the work.
I don't care about that. Why would you move to evict him the same month that you hired him, is my question.
Because he promised me that he would pay me, and then he didn't.
Pay you what?
He would pay me rent, and
Just
he
a
didn't
second,
pay me.
he paid you in September.
Your Honor, he owed $6,800, and I have the schedule here to show the amount of money he owed.
Just a second. So what you're telling me is that he owed you $6,800, but he gave you $1,200.
Yeah, so we're deducting the $1,250 from the $6,800, and the balance is what he owes me.
Okay. I don't have a counterclaim for that.
I have the information here, Your Honor.
I don't care whether you have it there or not. You didn't file a counterclaim.
No, I didn't.
Okay. So what you're telling me is that the $1,200 was sort of to keep you at bay because they owed you more. Why hadn't you been paying rent regularly? Yep, not you.
Oh.
Him.
I hadn't paid rent after that because of the work that my father had done for me.
No. At that point, in October, you owed him $6,800. Why had you gotten so far behind in the rent?
Your Honor, his bookkeeping was off, and
I'll look at your bookkeeping. Show me for all the time that you were there.
Okay.
Show me the receipts of what you paid him.
When we went in, Your Honor, in September, also he had 3 other payments that...
How much did you owe him in September?
Actually, I owed him $1,250 in September. That was everything paid after he gave the other credits. He was missing a payment for $740, a payment for $400, and a payment for $1,250 that he didn't record in addition to that $1,250 I gave him that day.
Now, you went to housing court, is that right?
Yes.
When did you go to housing court?
The first time was in October.
When did you go the second time to housing court?
Oh, I've got it all right here. Okay, the first time...
Just a second. Mr. Poland, you're the tenant. When was the second time you went to housing court?
is it okay if I look at these, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay. The second time we went to court was on 11/4, Your Honor. 11/4.
That was the second time.
Yes.
When you went to housing court, because the case is a simple case.
That was
The
11
case
or that
says
was 10/7.
that he illegally evicted you. You're back in the house now, but during that brief period of time when you were evicted, he disposed of some of your property.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so that's what you're suing for.
Yes.
So when you went to housing court, you went over all the bills. And how much were you advised in housing court that you owed Mr. Valdez?
Nothing.
Do you have any evidence to the contrary, Mr. Valdez, that would indicate that they owed you any money?
Your Honor, the way it works in court in Kern County is that you can't ask for money the first time around. You have to ask for it afterwards. All I wanted was possession of the property at that time, and so that's what I was asking. I was prepared to go back afterward and ask for a money claim.
Just a second. Did they pay you rent in November?
No.
You have proof you paid in November?
No, I don't, Your Honor.
Did you pay in December?
No, I didn't, Your Honor.
Did you pay in January?
No, I didn't, Your Honor.
Well, is there a reason for that?
Pretty much it all involves the wrongful eviction that he put me through and all the money it's cost me to take care of that after the process.
Well, you tell me what money it's cost you. Did you hire a lawyer?
No, I didn't, Your Honor.
Tell me what money it cost you.
I had to rent and stay in a motel for a week after I was wrongfully evicted.
I don't care.
My dog...
Just a second.
I'm sorry.
You're living in his property now.
Yes.
You asked the court to put you back in the property.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And the court said, right now, because you didn't go through the process correctly, I'm ordering you back into your home. That's what the court said?
No, Your Honor.
That's what you say here in your complaint. You say in your complaint...
he lied and tricked us.
You say in your complaint...
That came out of the judge's mouth.
Just a second. You state in your complaint, the judge reprimanded the defendant and I was given back possession of the home on October 7th. That's what you say.
Yes.
I was reprimanded the defendant for not having gone through proper procedures to evict you for whatever he did. My question to you is now you're back in your home.
Yes.
Why aren't you paying rent?
Because we're already paid up on the rent. If you take the payments we've made, he didn't credit us, and...
You didn't make... Your son, who is the tenant, didn't pay rent last month, didn't pay rent this month, didn't pay rent the month before or the month before.
If you take all these payments that I've made and what he owes me, which the judge told him he was to pay me for the work that was done too, and or credit it toward rent.
Just a second. I want to see that order.
Going into...
I'd like to see that order.
Oh, sure.
I'd like to see it. Don't say just show me in the order.
Okay. Here's where he gave...
Just a second. I'd like to see it.
Ordered him...
I can read.
Okay.
This doesn't say that he's supposed to give you anything. He says you were supposed to meet on November 16th, 2015 at 1:30 p.m. in Department 12. That's what it says. And it says you were supposed to have an accounting with all rent due, all rent paid, and credits owed to the defendant. And you're ordered to appear on November 16th. What happened on November 16th?
We had a different judge.
We appeared in court, Your Honor.
And
we had a different judge this time. It was a sit-in judge.
What happened on November 16th?
She granted possession of the property back to Mr. Valdez.
Granted it back to Mr. Valdez?
Yes.
Because we said we were moving
just a second. Hey! So the judge granted the property back to Mr. Valdez. You are now staying there and not paying rent. I'm just getting the story straight. Is that not talking to you?
Uh-huh.
Okay. See that? You're not the tenant.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
We are now 3 months past.
No.
Well, my calendar says we're 3 months past November 16th. If you're living on Pluto, maybe it's not the same calendar.
And later today.
I just wanted to see the tickets, and they wouldn't let me see them.
I don't believe it. I believe her when she says your father said just give them back the car.
Because they were being aggressive. What was I supposed to do? I was scared.
And his son Alexander claim former landlord Dennis Valdez owes for the return of rent and property. Dennis says the plaintiffs had been evicted, so his workers disposed of their belongings.
Now, when you went the first time and the judge ordered you back to the property, did Mr. Valdez allow you back into the property? The answer is yes, because you live there. Yes. And you're still living there, right?
Yes.
So he followed the judge's order.
No,
just a second. He followed the judge's order. Now, the judge on November 16th ordered you, you're the tenant, out of the house. So you decided not to abide by the judge's order.
No, we abided by the judge's order.
So, hey, I'm not talking to you.
Okay, well...
I'm not talking to you. He's the tenant.
Okay. If you tell her name.
Am I correct that you and your father told me that you're still living in Mr. Valdez's home?
Yes.
When we started. And we are now 3 months past November 16th. Well, my calendar says we're 3 months past November 16th. If you're living on Pluto, maybe it's not the same calendar.
She didn't make that ruling on November 16th.
Listen to me. That's what the tenant told me.
Yeah,
you're
that's
not the
true.
tenant.
That's
Show
not
me
true.
something else.
I'll show you on that piece of paper.
No, show me the order on November 16th.
There was no order on
Yes, there
November
was. According to the
16th.
tenant, there was an order. And you haven't paid rent. And your case is dismissed. You're a squatter living in his house. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The reason that we're here is because the
Yes, some property was stolen from me.
tenant sued me for $10,000 for a marijuana plant.
I had a couple marijuana plants that were stolen and some tools.
And they should have been arrested for having that kind of a marijuana plant at their location.
I just won't trust anybody from now on.
It's all about money, and they want to stay there without paying.
Folks, have a seat.
Mr. and Mrs. Knight, according to your complaint, you hired the defendant to build an enclosed garage as part of your house and also to re-roof your house. Your complaint alleges that the defendant took down the roof, did not secure it, left the job, allowing water to come in and damage your home. Mr. Salinas says the initial agreement that you had nothing to do with the roof, only had to do with the garage, which he did, and that you and a former employee of his took off the roof yourself. He had nothing to do with it, and he has since fired that worker, and he's counterclaiming because he said you never finished paying him for the garage. Now, you have a business?
Yes.
Can I see the written contract that you had?
I have the original, Your Honor. I have the original.
I'd like to see it.
That's my copy as well.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Salinas, it clearly says roof.
Are you referring to line item 2 or line item 7?
Line item 2.
Yes, that is line item 1 says to rough frame the garage, and line item 2, roof, frame the roof. Line item 7 says re-roof entire house. Re-roof is terminology used in the trade indicating that we will be putting shingles on top of shingles.
So the roof that is referred to in 2
Yes.
was the roof of the garage.
Of the garage.
And the re-roof, line 7, had to do with the house.
That says match to existing.
Re-roof.
Or re-roof to match to garage, I believe it says.
Re-roof existing
To match, there you go.
house to
So it's re-roof the
match.
house to match the new garage that he built.
To match.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I think we're in agreement upon
Re-roof
that.
to match.
Yeah.
So your original agreement provided for re-roofing.
Yes.
Oh, well, then.
Understand the terminology re-roof.
Just a second. So is what you're suggesting, sir, let me understand this. What you're suggesting that you were going to put new roofing materials over the old roof.
That is exactly right.
That's what you consider re-roofing.
That's correct. That's what re-roofing means in the trade. If you're going
just
to do a tear-off, I'm sorry.
I just did a re-roofing.
Yes.
With a contract. My contract said re-roofing house and garage.
Okay.
This amount. They took off the old roof and they put on a new roof. And they got dumpsters and put all the debris from the old roof in the dumpsters. And then they put on new tiles. Now, do you think that for a second I would have thought as a lay person that they were going to take new tiles and put it over old ones?
That is typical in the industry that
Listen to me.
re-roof.
Then you have to, are you in the roofing business?
No, Your Honor.
Then it's your problem. Then you have to explain it, because any other normal person who is not a roofer and in the trade would have thought that you take off the old garbage because you don't put, it's like putting clean clothes over dirty underwear.
I can appreciate that, but that's not the case. Typically, if you say re-roof, it is implied that you're going to go, and it's
not in my world.
Well, in the roofing world, it is.
Well, then the roofing world has to explain that to their customers.
I am explaining it to you.
No.
I am.
In the contract.
Yes, the contract.
It's not, show me in the contract where you
Number
say you
7 says re-roof.
Mr. Salinas, let me tell you this. You are in my court.
Yes, I am.
100% wrong. I'm telling you, and you're not listening to me.
No, you're not
if you
listening to me. But that's fine.
Don't listen to me. If you have a particular term that is understood in your trade between tradespeople, that's fine. Don't give me, I'm the only actress here.
Okay, no, I'm not acting.
I'm the only, if you have a term between tradespeople that they understand, that's fine. But when you create a contract and you use the word re-roof and you are building a new garage, so clearly number 2 says a roof, because you don't build a garage without a roof, because that would be stupid. You don't put up 4 walls unless you're going to put a top on it. But when it says re-roof, And if that is a term of art in your business, then you have to explain that to the person who is not in your business and doesn't understand the term of art, like me. And believe me, Mr. Salinas, I'm a very smart lady.
I believe that.
So if you said to me, I'm going to re-roof your house, I would expect you to take off the old crap and put on new, not to put clean clothes over dirty underwear. So we're finished with this. That's done. I understand your position that in your business, the term re-roof is a term of art and doesn't necessarily imply that you're going to take off the old roof and put in a new roof. And I say to you, you've got to put that in the contract. That's my ruling. We're done with that. We're done with that part of the case. Do you understand? I understand your position.
Okay.
I've just given you my ruling.
Fine, let's move forward.
Now, how much money did you pay him?
Total $24,900.
$24,000.
Out of $26,000. We had a $2,500. I got a summary here.
Just
for
a second. The whole amount was $26,000.
Yes.
Okay. And you paid him $24,900.
Yes.
And you can prove that.
Yes.
Do you agree that he paid you $24,900?
Yes.
On a project that was
I don't agree with the 26. It was closed. It was 28.5.
No, not according to your contract.
Right. Because
not according to your contract.
Right.
You have a different contract?
No.
And this is your contract. $26,000.
That's right.
Now,
ask him that we put $2,500 on the contract.
That what?
Ask him if we put $2,500 on the contract.
I will not. This is your contract. And any contract.
He wanted to enlarge the dormer. It says on there dormer.
Then you change the contract. This is a written contract.
We were at that point, and sorry about this, but we shook hands. He said he wanted to enlarge the dormer. I said $2,500 of extra labor and materials, and we'll do that for you, Chaz, because dormer is wrote there, but the size of the dormer is not. It was intended that the dormer was going to be a window-sized dormer, and we enlarged it.
Okay. Now, the garage was done.
Yes.
And the garage is fine.
Yes.
Great. Do you have a picture of the garage?
I have numerous pictures of different sides of it.
I just want to see it finished.
Well,
you don't have it, but you're not complaining about the garage.
No, the carpentry of it was actually...
Not complaining about the garage. The garage is fine.
Yes.
Okay. Now, was the garage done first?
Yes.
Now tell me what happened with the roof.
Well, he, on the 8/28, I paid him another $5,000 towards roofing material. He proceeded to buy it. It was on the roof the next couple days. They started tearing off the ridge of the house to match the existing. And
who started tearing it down?
Ralph or his employees.
Was the person who tore off the roof, if it wasn't Mr. Salinas, was that a person who had been working on the garage?
His crew, I believe.
Had you seen him there before?
Yeah.
Yes. So he was part of his regular crew?
Yes.
So it was either Mr. Salinas or this other man?
Yes, one of his
employees.
employees.
Who's not here today?
I don't know if either one of these two had part in tearing it off.
No. All I want to know is the employee that you fired here today?
Right over there.
Did you work for him?
Yes, ma'am.
You worked for him, and did you, in fact, while you were in his employ, tear off part of the roof?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay. So, roof is torn off. The old roof is torn off.
Yes. So on September 3rd, we had a leak in our master bedroom because they didn't seal it off correctly. No tarps or nothing on top. And I called them. I told them about it. And then this is a re-roof a house, 2-3 days maybe. Over the course of the next 4 weeks, the house was still not done. We had damage in our 2-year-old child's room where it actually came through the ceiling.
Okay. Did Mr. Salinas ever come back to complete the roof?
No. I asked him to leave the property after 4 weeks and 3 rooms of water damage, and him stating to me that he did not have money to finish the project, that I had enough money invested in him because the contract, in his words, states 30%, 30%, 30%, and then 10. Well, I gave him 24-some thousand, and he wanted more money to finish what he already had going, and I told him it wasn't going to happen.
Okay. Now I'm going to hear you, sir. You see, now it's your turn. While this gentleman, whose name is?
Michael,
while he was in your employ, he and maybe somebody else, maybe you, started to tear off the roof. That's what he says.
Okay.
Look at me. Let's assume you weren't there when the roof started to come off.
Right.
Were you annoyed that your employee had started to take off the roof?
No, because the whole roof wasn't taken off, if I can explain to you. May I?
Yes.
Okay, and I've got the approved plans, what the city gave us here, just to allow me. When a roof is tied in, what happens is you take the new, you bring it across, and you tie it in with the new. In order to put shingles on top of shingles, or however to shingle it, we're beyond that, you said, you have to do what's called stair step. You take the shingle out, shingle in, shingle out, shingle in, shingle out, so that you can match them. This is what was torn off, because that was the end of the house, the existing. That was going up and down the overhang. The overhang was a foot overhang. So in tying this roof in, it didn't get into. The leak didn't happen until they decided to start tearing off more into the house, which we hadn't agreed.
Just a second. Who's the they?
He took it upon, he says,
who's the they who took off?
He ended up hiring Mike to help him do it. He offered to hire Timmy to help him do it.
Did you pay Michael any extra money to rip off your old roof?
No.
No, that's not what happened, Mr. Salinas.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. No.
Yes, it is.
No, Mr. Salinas. You want to stand up and tell me what happened? Let's go, Michael.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you have a conversation with Mr. Salinas after he saw that the roof was ripped off?
I've had a conversation with him every single day, telling him that we needed to get this roof done.
And what was his response?
Night claimed their former contractor, Ralph Salinas, is responsible for water damage to their home. Ralph is countersuing for his bill.
Now, were you a regular employee of his?
Yes, ma'am.
How long had you worked for him?
Oh, I've known Ralph for many, many years.
How long have you worked for him?
In this point in time, maybe a year and a half.
And you were paid on a weekly basis or bi-weekly?
Yes, ma'am.
So you were a regular employee?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you get paid by check or cash?
Cash.
Did he pay all of his employees by cash?
Yes, ma'am.
How much did you make a week?
Well, I try to get 40 hours in and make,
So he paid you by the hour?
Yes.
Did he pay all the other men by the hour?
Yes.
How much an hour?
I got paid $20 an hour.
Now, when you started to work on the roof of the house, you had been working on the garage?
Yep.
Did you have a conversation with Mr. Salinas about the roof?
Yes, ma'am.
When?
Well, actually, when the contract was actually signed.
When it was signed between the two parties?
Yes, I was there.
Tell me about the conversation.
Well, Chaz went over everything that he wanted done, which was okay with Ralph. Ralph even said he would throw in a couple extra things, and he also said that he would tear off the existing roof of the house and roof the whole thing. So that's what...
Otherwise, you would have...
Shh.
Sorry.
Were you on the job when you took off the roof?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember on what day it was that you took off the roof?
I can't. No, I don't. Not at the top of my head. Because we started...
What month was it?
I think it was August.
We had our master bedroom. We saw the water damage in our master bedroom on September 3rd. So the roof was off somewhere around that time.
I think it was late August.
Did you have a conversation with Mr. Salinas after he saw that the roof was ripped off?
Oh, I've had a conversation with him every single day, telling him that we needed to get this roof done.
What was his response?
Oh, yeah, we're working on it. We're working on it. We're working on it. But I was never on the job. He pulled me off the job, sent me to other places.
Other places where he had crews working?
Me working.
How many people, after you took off the roof, did he have working at the Knight's house?
One, and maybe two laborers that didn't know what they were doing.
Does he do pickup labor?
Yeah, hires anybody.
I mean, does they go to a place where he picks them up?
No, they drive to the job.
They drive to the job?
Yes, they do.
Okay, and I am correct at that time, all but $2,000 of the original $26,000 had been paid. Is that correct?
Well, I have a summary. It's a little less than that, but yes, that's close, very close.
Okay. Have you ever done a roof job for Mr. Salinas?
A roof job?
Yeah.
Once before.
Do you know how much he charges to do a roof job?
No, I do not.
How much do you charge to do a roofing job that includes taking off the roof and putting on a new roof, the same type that the Knights had?
Well, Mr. Knight has a steeper roof. It's called a 10-12, and typically would start at about $260 to $300 a square. Roofing is measured by the square, and that would be a tear-off, though. And once again, I just have to reiterate, it wasn't my intention to tear it off, or I'd have charged him a lot more. And that's what happened.
Go ahead.
Yes, it was his intentions.
There's no question. I've already made a legal ruling on that, and that is if you are using a term of art in the trade that maybe the trade understands, but the layperson does not, you have to articulate that in the contract so that it's crystal clear. Because to a layperson, when you say re-roof, that means that you're going to take off the old stuff and put on the new stuff.
To Chaz's credit, he is not late.
I'm speaking.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
There's another email. When is somebody going to be here? Does he respond to that?
Yes, actually, that is when the 2-year-old's room happened.
Does he respond on the 18th?
Yes.
What did he say?
Denise Knight saved their former contractor, Ralph Salinas, is responsible for water damage to their home.
Now, you want to show me the damage that was done to your home as a result of this leaking roof?
Okay.
And also tell me how much you paid to have the roof completed.
These are the bills that
We paid the other
contracts
contractor.
for the new contract. And I also have an estimate.
Would you just show me, please, the estimate for the new roof, or what you paid for the new roof, was what I asked you.
Only
The roof alone.
Roof alone.
we did $1,250 to finish the shingles because me and Mike went up there and tried finishing. Tim was actually there and tried finishing some of it, and he didn't show up, and that's when I finally had Chris from there, Modern Interiors, finish it. And by that time, I had completed enough of it because my house was getting damaged. I had no choice to get up there and do it myself. That it was only $1,200.
And is what you're telling me that you waited 4 weeks to do that when he refused to come back to work?
He was coming. He was coming and like calling. He would show up like one day, and then I'd be like, how come nobody's here today? And I would have Chaz call him, or he wouldn't answer our phone calls. So we were trying to work with him.
Did you ever send him an email and tell him that there was damage in your house as a result of water?
Text messages.
May I see them, please?
Yes, you may.
Judge Judy.
I did have it all organized, Your Honor. For September 4th, when I first told him that the garage was
Can I
leaking.
say something here?
I just want to see the text messages where he told him that there was water damage. You have text messages? I'll look at them.
I've got a whole bunch of text messages, but I had Mike there. The last paycheck I gave Mike was for 36 hours, and he was supposed to be there roofing what we had built.
The last one that you had back there with these pictures and stuff, where you told him that those ones were leaking. That
Text
one.
messages. Does he ever respond to these?
He did at first, during that time frame, the September 4th, when it was, because that was the first week it was tore off.
That was September 4th.
Yep.
On September 18th, there's another email. When is somebody going to be here? Does he respond to that?
Yes, actually, that is when the 2-year-old's room happened. And
Does he respond on the 18th?
Yes.
Yes.
What did he say?
He said, actually, I have a voicemail of him stating that he was coming out to fix it, and Tim should have been there to fix it, and so on.
Yeah, he kept saying that people were going to come out and fix it, that they were going to handle it, they were going to take care of it, that he was going to make it right.
Okay. Did he tell you he wanted more money to tear off the roof?
He never said for tearing off the roof. He stated that he wanted more money to finish the garage doors, siding, glass block windows, and he said he wanted more money for that.
But never about the roof?
No.
Okay. Go ahead.
Chaz and I had the conversation about the additional money for the tear-off. I know that you said we're beyond it, but Timmy heard part of that conversation.
I don't care.
Okay. Okay, fine.
I don't care. You're responsible for all the damage in their house. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. Your counterclaim for additional money is dismissed. Ridiculous. That's all.
Thank you.
We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Talks, he seems like a really good guy. I'm sure he's done it to a lot of people.
Apparently, Chaz was out to try to extort money from my insurance company. He asked me to...
He seems like a really good guy, and then he gets into it and gets his money and gets out of there before he finishes the job.
Make a claim on my insurance, and when I didn't, it did kind of cheat him off, and so that's why we're here today.
They did a good job in the carpentry, but really messed us over when they caused a lot of damage in our house. And
he took it upon himself to take Mike and try to hire other guys to try to get the job done.
Screwed over one of his employees and really messed with our family, so I'm glad it went the way it did.
Oh, more than stabbed in the back.
That was all on him. It's not.
I think with every customer I come across now, there will be more detailed contract.
I paid a contractor, dude, $26,000. It's a lot of money.
I'm glad it's done enough.
All parties in the matter of Hollister versus Hollingsworth. Step forward.
Gina Hollister is suing her former landlord, Jerome Hollingsworth, for moving costs and harassment.
Miss Hollister, you rented a couple of rooms in Mr. Hollingsworth's house, and it is your claim that he made your life a living hell. You want to be compensated that for moving costs, harassment, and physical and mental abuse.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Hollingsworth says that you were a nightmare tenant, and he's countersuing for property damage, lost wages, and punitive damages.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you ever rented in your house before?
No, ma'am.
Have you rented in your house since?
No, ma'am.
That's a good idea, because you know why, Mr. Hollingsworth? You never know what you're going to get. Who lives in your house with you?
Just me, my girlfriend, and my 2 kids, my babies.
Well, you and your girlfriend would probably be better off getting a second job before you rent to a stranger.
Yes.
And it's not easy to move in with a family, Miss Hollister. When did you move in with Mr. Hollingsworth?
I moved in with him October 2nd.
And where had you been living?
I had been living with my sister-in-law.
For how long?
Probably about maybe a month.
And before that, where were you living?
Before that, I lived in an apartment on Barber Street.
And how long did you live there?
3 months.
And before that, where did you live?
Before that, I had lived up on 10th Street, and I did get evicted from there, ma'am. That was about a year ago.
Okay, so you were evicted, you lived someplace for 3 months, you lived someplace for a month, and then you came to Mr. Hollingsworth.
Yes.
And you came on October 2nd. When
Yes.
did you leave?
I just left here a couple weeks ago on the 27th because we went through an eviction.
He evicted you because you didn't do what? Pay rent.
No, I had the rent, ma'am.
No, did you? Did not had it. I asked you whether you paid it.
No, he wouldn't accept it.
Listen to me, Miss Hollister.
Yes, honey.
I want you to understand something. He wanted to rent to a tenant to make extra money. That's why he was renting. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken in a tenant. Because you're not crazy, are you?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so there's only one reason why he wouldn't take your money.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He propositioned me a couple days after that. I told him I don't get down. I just gave you all my money. The cops were called, ma'am, 18 times in 1 month.
Great, so you must be happy that you're not there.
I am so very happy.
Great. Then what do you want?
Former friend Jerome Hollingsworth made inappropriate advances toward her. Jerome is countersuing for property damage and lost wages.
Now, he wouldn't take your money. It wasn't because he was saying to you, we want you to live with us because everything is wonderful and you're going to be like Nanny McPhee. You're going to be part of the family, right? What he was saying is, I don't want your money. I don't want you. It's not worth the aggravation. Get out. But you hadn't paid him, which is why he moved to evict you. Now, did she offer you money after you moved to evict her?
No, she went shopping.
What do you mean she went shopping?
She came home with some brand new boots, brand new shopping bag, took everybody out to dinner.
Everybody in your family?
No, her friends.
Okay, and is that when you moved to evict her?
She agreed to move out the following month, and after she could not get another apartment because they denied her, she told me, you have to evict me.
And you did?
Yes.
Great. All right. So what do you think, Miss Hollister, that the defendant owes you for?
There's so much.
No, not so much. I don't want to hear so much. I'm a very busy person.
I understand that.
I'm a very busy person, and this case is going nowhere fast.
Right.
So I want you to tell me what you think this man owes you for.
Because he's put me and my daughter's lives through hell for the last 2 months. Since he got all my money, he propositioned me a couple days after that. I told him I don't get down. I just gave you all my money. Since then, the cops were called, ma'am, 18 times in 1 month.
So you must be happy that you're not there.
I am so very happy.
Great. Then what do you want? You want $2,500 for what? You didn't give him $2,500.
Because I had to get a storage. I have to find another place to live, which is no problem. I know that, and I'm trying.
Well, you've had a problem with places to live. You've had problems with places to live. You've been evicted now twice that I know of in 1 year. How old are you?
I'm 44.
44. I'm 73. I've never been evicted.
Right.
How old are you, Bird? Come on, speak up.
57.
57. 58. Yeah, you're 58. 58. How many times have you been evicted from a residence?
Never.
Never. And they you in 1 year,
Right on.
Miss Hollister.
Right.
And I have a feeling it's not the only 2 times you've been evicted.
Yes, ma'am, it has. It is.
Yeah, well, then you had a bad year.
Tell me about it.
Okay, so you don't get any money from this court for harassment. What do you think you want?
I'm suing her for damages because
What damages?
CPS came out to the house and kicked in the room door because she refused to talk to CPS that came for her and her daughter. And this is not
Child Protective Services came on a report.
correct.
Who filed the report? Do you know?
No, I don't.
Wasn't you?
No, ma'am. No. I didn't call.
Somebody else called on your behalf.
No, ma'am.
All right, I have a feeling. I'm not even going to go into that.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Start off with the easy things first.
Starting Monday, Judge Judy.
3:30 on Fox opened her door.
No, the police did.
Next.
The second is I'm suing for mental distress. The people, she was bringing multiple people in my house, leaving the front door unlocked. And I had to call the police. I mean, people coming in with hoodies on 2 or 3 in the morning. And I'm talking. Every time I talk to her.
Are you glad she's gone?
I'm glad.
Say Thank goodness she's gone. From
Thank
this court,
God she's gone.
From her, you're not getting any money.
I'm just happy that she's gone.
Perfect. And you know what, Mr. Hollingsworth, I'm happy that you're happy.
Yes.
Great. Do you have some place to live now, Miss Hollister?
Yes, I'm currently staying with my sister-in-law again until the place.
And you
comes
don't
up.
have a new tenant?
No, never.
And you're not going to get a new tenant?
Oh, no, never.
Everybody learned their lesson. Good.
That's right.
Goodbye, good luck, have a happy life.
These are excused. You may step out.
Bye, Judge Judy. It was nice meeting you.
Leave your paperwork. Leave your paperwork. Ma'am, leave your paperwork.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
They got this lady out of my house.
I was staying with him, and he did me and my daughter very wrong.
She's out of my life. She's been a nightmare.
Using vulgar language in front of my little girl.
I've called the police at least 18 times on her.
He would get very upset and start screaming in my face.
You'll say what you have to stay in somebody's house. I feel if you've been harassed this way.
I went through hell with my daughter because of this man.
You would have got out. I mean, if somebody harassed me and my daughter, I'm going to make a post report.
Be seated.
Your last name is?
Hay.
Mr. Hay, how long do you know the defendant?
Probably close to 30 years.
And what was your relationship with her?
Just a friend.
This is your girlfriend?
That's correct.
How long have you been together?
Since 2010.
There was a period recently when you were not together, you and your girlfriend?
We had rough times, yes.
Recently? I'm talking about the recent past.
If recent is within the last 2 years, yes.
Yes. Tell me when that period was.
I want to say, what year are we in?
No, don't ask her any questions, especially if you have to ask her what year we're in. Give me a month and year.
2013.
So since 2013, you and your girlfriend have not had any breakups?
Since 2013, we have not.
Do you live together?
We do, and we had during that time as well.
There came a time, according to you, that you loaned a car to the defendant.
That's correct.
Whose car was it?
It was myself and Lawson's car.
Who was it titled to?
To the both of us.
Did you discuss with Miss Lawson loaning the car to the defendant?
I did. I told her that I was taking it to loan it to Miss Stout.
Did she approve of that?
Not so well.
Right, I wouldn't. You could understand that.
Absolutely.
And did you have words about it?
Absolutely.
That's why I was asking you. I read the complaint. And you have a car together. You're living together since 2010, and you're going to lend your car to a friend of yours for 30 years, a female friend of yours who was single, I assume.
As far as I know, she was with somebody.
She's single.
Okay.
So were you.
Not during that time.
Single? Yes, you were single. You were either single or married. See, they don't have, on applications, they have single, married, separated, widowed, widower, or divorced.
Okay.
Those are your statuses.
Okay. Single.
You are very single.
Thank you.
She's willing to tolerate that? Good for you. But I wouldn't like it if my boyfriend of 6 years loaned a car that's at least half mine to another girl.
Understood.
But you did it anyway.
Yes, I did.
Tell me why.
I did it because Miss Stout was in need of a vehicle. I had other vehicles that would allow my household to do what we needed to do. Plus, during this time, I wanted the car out of my name.
Oh, well, that's interesting. So you wanted the car out of your name. Why?
Well, we were having issues, like I said, prior to that, and I wanted to lose the attachment to the vehicle during that time.
You know, Mr. Hay, that sounded like a whole bunch of goulash to me.
Okay.
I mean, you're not a married couple. How do you get it out of your name? Did you take the title out of your name?
That's what we eventually did.
You did?
We traded it in to purchase, or she traded it in to get it out of my name per my request.
You want to explain this to me, Miss Lawson? Because I'm not going to get a legitimate answer from him. Maybe I won't get one from you either. But don't try my patience. So try to give me something that is truthful so that I can accept it. Now, he loaned the car allegedly to the defendant on what date?
On July 26th of 2015.
And how long did she have the car?
4 weeks.
And you knew she had the car?
Yes.
And what did you do after she returned the car?
Within the next 2 weeks, I had traded it in for a brand new Toyota Camry.
And in whose name is the Camry?
Mine.
Alone?
Yes.
Is he going through a bankruptcy?
No.
Well, explain to me why. Did he not want the loan in his name? Just explain it to me.
When we went through hard times, we had several vehicles that were tied to both of us, and we wanted them separate. We got back together. He has a vehicle in his name solely. I have one in my name, and then we have one in both of our names.
What is your complaint about her, Miss Lawson? Why are you here today?
There's some fees that are owed and a rental car fees that are owed that she didn't pay and hasn't paid, and she neglected to pay them. So they've gone into collections. They've gone to law firm collections.
Well, is that on a credit card that you are a co-signer on?
That was at the time on an account that we were both on. We were both jointly putting our paychecks into.
And so the credit card was in both your names? What credit card was it?
It was actually the main card that he used was a Chase debit card.
Who paid for the rental car? Raise your hand. Who paid for the rental car? You did.
Yes.
Okay. Did you discuss with Miss Lawson paying for the rental car?
I did not.
And she wasn't happy with you loaning the car in the first place?
In the first place, absolutely correct.
And so to add insult to injury, you decided to let her use a joint debit card to rent a car. And you're telling me the last trouble you had with Miss Lawson was in 2013?
Miss Lawson and I have an understanding.
I don't understand what that means.
Well, we understand how our household works with the issues that had taken place prior. We have an understanding that, you know, we're going to continue our relationship and not move backwards. So what that's stating
well,
is...
we're talking about 2015.
Yes.
We're not talking about ancient history here,
That's
sir.
correct.
You said you hadn't had any discord since 2013. Sounds like a lot of discord in 2015.
Actually, we've been really well since we've gotten back together.
Well, when did you get back together?
The end of 2013.
Well, evidently not. You wanted things out of your name?
I did.
You wanted to lend a joint car that she objected to. You did it anyway.
I did.
You used a joint account to pay for a rental car for an old female friend.
I sure did.
And you're telling me that you think that that's healthy for a relationship when you know that your partner is not happy with it?
Well, in my opinion, and the way that I kind of seen it, is I was helping an old friend who needed help, and she knows the type of individual that I am, and I'm going to go out of my way to help people that need help. I've always been that way, regardless of if anybody likes it or not.
You sound like a prince.
I'm not.
A prince. A prince.
Well.
What fees did you accumulate while you had the rental car?
There were some toll roads.
Toll
roads.
Well, why didn't you pay them?
I had my fast track in the window, but I guess if you don't register the plate with the fast track, sometimes they run your plate instead of the fast track. So I didn't know that there was anything that had
What were the fees?
The 91 express lane fees are a total of $442.30 that are in collection. The ones that are not in collection are $242.30. And then the toll road violations are $212.50. Not including, though, on top of that, the Hertz administration fee for the toll roads that they charge us at $30 a piece for 3 of them.
So that's $90.
$90.
$986 in tolls and fines. Anything else?
Still the outstanding rental car fee?
You said that you did it. You were helping a friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what she says. You were helping a friend. It was a gift.
No.
What?
Nobody ever said gift. Nobody ever used the word gift.
She did.
Oh,
she
did
did,
she?
and so did you.
No, I never did.
Well, you did when you said to me, I believe in helping out a friend in need.
Absolutely.
Good.
And her and I had a conversation that she would take care of the $840 when I first went to rent the car. Hence the reason why we put it on the card in the first place and why I was willing to deal with Donna when I got home.
Great.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your request for money for filing a false restraining order is denied. The fact that you found out that your live-in was not doing the right thing, to say the least. You know it, I know it, she knows it, and he knows it.
And later today.
Did she ask you to buy those things for her?
She asked me to buy her a pair of shoes, correct?
Is that right?
I did not. I said that if there was something she found I would like, I would be happy, but if she didn't, I wouldn't take anything.
That doesn't sound like a conversation.
Hay and Donna Lawson say Kenneth's former friend, Melissa Stout Corveau, owes for a rental car, toll fees, and a restraining order.
Now, the next part of your complaint deals with a false restraining order. Can I see a copy of the restraining order that you filed?
Here's a copy. There's actually two of them. One was for him and one was for her.
Tell me why you filed this restraining order.
January 30th, I'd received a text message on my work line from Miss Lawson that I didn't even know who she was about owing money for toll road fees that I thought I'd already taken care of, as well as for a rental car. When that had happened, the following day, I had received a phone call from the Fontana Police Department accusing me of stealing a garage remote and burglarizing a house. I'm a realtor. I can't have those kinds of issues. And then he asked me about a lawsuit that was filed, and I told him I knew nothing about a lawsuit. 2 hours later, my work had been served with a lawsuit by Miss Lawson, who was slandering me.
Well, what did she say in the lawsuit?
The lawsuit itself, it's the civil lawsuit. It's the civil lawsuit that she served me for Kenneth Hay. The actual lawsuit we're doing today. So that I had known nothing about. And then...
Miss Lawson, where did Mr. Hay tell you the car was during the month that the defendant had the car?
With Melissa.
So you knew her name?
Yes.
She didn't know you. Is that true?
I don't believe so, no.
You don't believe it's true? Do you remember ever meeting her?
No.
Well, then maybe he didn't tell her.
They were on Facebook together. She knew because we were all over. I mean, our pictures were on Facebook. We were tagged in posts. She knew.
Do you have her text message acknowledging this debt?
I actually have a Facebook message from her acknowledging the debt. Absolutely.
Okay, well, it's clear from this text message that you acknowledge this debt.
I didn't.
And what you say is, he didn't tell me I'd have to pay him back right away. I'm having a very bad time of it. If I knew I had to pay you back right away, I never would have accepted it, as I knew my situation and knew it was not a possibility. And I'm requesting that your girlfriend never contact anyone that I know or me again, as I will be forced to proceed with legal actions against her for harassment. This is not okay. This will affect my livelihood as well as my children's. Is that why you filed the protective order?
That's why I filed a protective order.
So your request for money for filing a false restraining order is denied. The fact that you found out that your live-in was not doing the right thing, to say the least. I don't have to go into it. You know it. I know it. She knows it. And he knows it. But she says she should pay him back. Now, the car rental was how much?
$1,122.64.
Did you pay any of the tolls?
I paid all of them. I added the license plate to my account, so it retroacted and paid everything. Apparently, there was 3 trailing that she had given to my boss as proof that they had gone to collections. I went and added that. I extended it even further for the date, so I actually have it in here. And I also paid the admin fees as well.
Well, where does it say it was paid?
That's the only vehicle I had, and that's the only car I have on the account. So I added it that time frame.
Can I see what you have, please, as far as what went into collections for this car?
This is the collections. Then there is also an email and a 91 Express Lane recently, and every one of the toll road violations.
Also, I see you paid $130 fee from Hertz.
There's 2. That's all that was on there. That when I called them and spoke to them, they told me that's what was owed.
And I'd like to see the Hertz rental car for $11.22.
That's the invoice.
Did you pay any part of this Hertz rental bill?
No.
Anything else? Great. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,038. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I paid the tolls that I thought I had.
I did offer to help her during her time of need.
A vindictive girlfriend.
And unfortunately, she took my kindness for weakness.
Move on.
We prevailed as a team, and that's what matters.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, everyone.
Case 2152, Robinson versus Lane.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How long have you been in the business of renting party equipment?
We've been in the business about 2.5 years.
And when you started the business by purchasing how many pieces of equipment?
We purchased 3 used units.
3 used?
Yes, obstacle courses. And we rented them out. And then we saved the money and then progressed renting them out and getting more.
Now, the jumper that you rented to the defendants.
Yes, ma'am.
Was one that you bought used or one that you bought new?
I bought it new.
When?
I bought it on 7/19/21. I have the receipt for it.
I'd like to see it, please. Okay, and what you rented from them was a 38-foot obstacle course.
We didn't rent from them.
Who did?
Some friends of ours did. They used our property for their daughter's Sweet 16. They paid the Robinsons. They signed the rental agreement. We did not.
Is that correct?
Sandra's actually the one that handed me the cash.
Did somebody sign a rental agreement?
Yes.
Who was it?
It's a lady. Her name is...
Okay, so let me understand that this is... let me frame it. You rented this piece of equipment, which is a 38-foot obstacle course, to someone whose name is, and according to your complaint, it was returned damaged.
Yes.
You say it can't be repaired, although you tried to patch it.
Right.
And you want the cost of a new obstacle course, and while you paid $4,500, you want $9,000.
Well,
because you claim
I have a list of loss of rentals because people...
You're not entitled to that. Okay. More important, I want to know how you think if these people were not signatories to your rental agreement, why...
We did all the... I dealt completely with Sandra. They run a business in their property, which is for parties. She said they do cigar club parties, they do Sweet 16 parties on their property.
Okay, got it. You do this as a business?
So, yes, we run...
The answer is yes.
Yes.
You use your home property? Is it your home property that you use?
Yes.
So you have a large enough piece of property that other people who want to make parties for their children do them at your house?
Yes.
So you took physical custody of this?
No.
Who did?
The renters, the people...
No, it's physical custody, not legal custody. We're not talking about legal custody. You took physical custody and put it on your property.
The people that signed the original rental agreement were on the property at the time that they dropped it off.
I don't care. It was on your property.
Yes, it was on our property.
So that's a yes.
Yes.
So it was on your property, but used by somebody else, and they were just using your property.
Yes.
Is that correct? I had it rented out on Sunday. So when I dropped it off, I told Sandra that we would have to come at 6:30 in the morning to pick it up, to clean it and deliver it the next day. She agreed to that because normally we don't leave it overnight if it's going out the next day because we need to sterilize it. When we got there at 7 in the morning, we came in and we were getting ready to pick up the 38-foot obstacle. I noticed that the dogs had chewed, and there are 2 dogs, a boxer and another dog, were still running around and lifting their leg and urinating on the bouncer. We told her, your dog ate our obstacle. There's pieces of the vinyl, which I have pictures of it, where your dog just ate it.
Have pictures of our dog chewing it?
Just a second. I don't want to hear you again. I tried to ignore you quietly.
Obstacle. So then she went in to go and get her husband. Her husband came out. He signed paper saying he was responsible for loss of rentals and the damages or replacement of it.
May I see it, please?
Yes. And also he sent text messages to our phone that same morning apologizing and saying he would do everything to replace it, plus the loss of rentals that we were going to lose.
I'd like to see those texts, and I would like to see his signature on a piece of paper assuming responsibility.
And then,
just a second.
And here's the text messages.
Oh, would you show this to Mr. Lang, please? Yes. Did you sign that, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
I signed it under distress.
Under distress?
Under distress.
There's no such thing. You mean duress?
Duress. She was...
Just a second. There's a difference between distress...
Duress.
Okay. At 7:29 a.m., You said, I, Aaron Lang, recognize and acknowledge that a jumper obstacle course has been damaged from a dog. I will take care of the repairs and work with the rental company and its owners to get this resolved ASAP. And then about 15 minutes later, you wrote, I'm so sorry again. Let me know when you drop it off, please. Okay, so you tried to drop it off the next day.
I was trying to drop it off the next day to Albert, our repair guy.
Just a second, just answer my question. It doesn't require a long answer. The next day, you were trying to get it resolved, and you're back and forth with him, let me know, et cetera, and then you don't hear from him.
No.
Then it stopped. Tried calling you, I tried messaging you to get this resolved.
Yes.
Okay, well, Mr. Lang, there's no question. You acknowledged the damage and you agreed to pay for it. That's what you have. Can I have that back? You acknowledged in here that you would take full responsibility for this. What's your defense?
My defense is when they arrived on the property to pick up their jumper that was left.
Don't speak. They came to you first.
Yes.
You came outside.
Yes.
Okay, and when you came outside, you had a conversation with whom?
I believe Miss Robinson.
With Mrs. Robinson?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you say to her and what did she say to you?
She just went hysterically, like upset that the jumper was damaged, and that's when I went inside and
Just a
talked to
second.
my husband.
What did she say?
She just started crying, and she
started to cry.
Yeah, and she's like, your dog's damaged my obstacle course.
Just a second. So she was crying?
Yes.
And did you have any issue when she said to you, your dog's damaged my obstacle course? Did you see what was bitten off from the obstacle course? That's either a yes or a no. The answer is yes. Okay. What kind of dogs do you have?
A German Shepherd and a Boxer.
And where had you stored this unit overnight?
It was left outside.
In the backyard, in the front yard?
We live on a huge ranch, so it's a 2.5 acre parcel. And it's been known that our neighbor dogs always hop.
I don't want to hear neighbor dogs. I don't want to hear coyotes. I don't want to hear bears.
My witness, he is
Just a
the
second.
repair guide.
Stand up, sir. I don't need an explanation of this. I'm not going into the repair jumper business. Thankfully, I have a job, and I'm too old to learn anything new.
And later today.
You have the phone.
I do. To this day, I am still paying for the data for that phone.
That's a lie.
Just a second.
I literally
just a
Tabitha and Brandon Robinson claim their customers, Aaron and Sandra Lang, refused to pay the costs of repairs after damaging their jumper house.
Okay, now I'm going to get back to you. So now your wife comes in to get you, and you went outside.
Yes.
And?
I go outside. Miss Robinson is completely hysterical, crying, just out of control in hysterics.
Okay.
Her husband's yelling, screaming,
No,
profanity.
tell me. Oh, I want you to tell me exactly. No. I want you to tell me exactly. She's crying, and he starts yelling.
Yes.
Well, you came out and said what to them when you came out? And then I want to hear exactly what was said.
I asked to see the damage, for them to show me what was going on, what had happened. They showed me the damage. We both took pictures. Again,
no, you both
took
pictures. Just a second. So he composed himself long enough to take pictures.
Yes.
And you were composed enough to take pictures.
Yes, I was.
Which you have.
Yes.
And then what happened?
Throughout their screaming.
No, I want you to tell me. Now you're
I'm
taking
telling you.
pictures, and?
Brandon is on the phone with their repair guy of some sort.
Okay, so he's on the phone. He's composed enough to be on the phone. Now, before he got on the phone with his repair guy, did you discuss with him your responsibility to take care of the damage? That's either yes or a no.
Yes.
Yes. So once you said, I'll take care of the damage, he got on the phone with his repair guy.
Before I agreed to take care of the damages, before we discussed that, he was already on the phone. With the repair guy.
Okay, and then he got off the phone, but you signed this the same day. So I want to know when in this conversation you signed it. You need something to lean on. Somebody has to give you a piece of paper. Somebody has to get a pen.
I did not fill out that piece of paper.
You don't have to.
Tabitha is the one that filled out the piece of paper in their vehicle.
Who did?
Miss Robinson is the one that filled it out in her vehicle.
Okay,
and then
so
handed it
just
to
a
me to
second.
sign.
So she got in her vehicle.
Crying in hysterics.
I don't care. She got in her vehicle, and where was her husband?
Outside loading the bouncer.
So he was outside.
Yes.
She went inside her vehicle, and he was busy.
Yes.
And you live in a house.
Yes.
Yeah, but you didn't.
I did not.
You went over to the truck where she was hysterical. She wrote out this document, right?
Yes.
And you signed it.
Yes, I did.
There we go. Make my life very easy. Did your repair guy try to fix the bouncer?
I do have a receipt where we did have it, tried to get it temporary patched where we paid $600 just to make sure we could still rent it out. So that was paid for. This is my repairman. He is my witness. And then also I do have a paper with an estimate of what it would be to repair the obstacle.
May I see it, please? After he did this job, which he did on October 4th, from the 3rd to the 4th, did you rent it out?
No, we tried to, but I have pictures that I brought of what happens when the air flows through. The patches won't stay. You have to go up inside the bouncer and actually put a patch on the inside and the outside, and it would cost more money. My witness is the repair guy that can tell you.
What you're telling me is that your witness prepared this estimate of what it would cost to repair the jumper.
Yes.
Stand up, sir. I don't need an explanation of this. I'm not going into the repair jumper business. Thankfully, I have a job, and I'm too old to learn anything new. Did you prepare this estimate to fix the jumper?
Yes, ma'am. That is the full estimate to repair it properly.
To do it properly?
Location. Yes.
Okay.
The first one was a temporary repair.
Listen, I got it. I'm a fast learner, and anybody who watches this program better learn to think fast too, because I have a lot of things to do today. So you prepare this. So for $2,500, in addition to the $600, did they pay you the $600? Yes. So in addition to the $600, so in total, $3,100 would fix the jumper.
Correct.
Great. Going to fix the jumper. How long is it going to take you?
Roughly about 2 days. 2 to 3.
2 days. Piece of cake. $3,100. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
I don't owe them anything. I didn't rent the bouncer.
I'm just happy that we're going to have our bouncer repaired.
Because they're money hungry.
They're looking for a payday.
The truth always comes out, and what's right is what's right.
So initially, after reading the papers, I thought the plaintiffs, while perfectly matched in their tops, were suing the wrong people because these people didn't sign the rental agreement. So any damage or any agreement to pay damage, I was with you from the beginning that these are the wrong people. It came out that they had a little bit more involvement, the defendant, than they wanted.
They agreed to pay.
Exactly. He knew he did the wrong thing. He probably saw his dog destroy the jumper from the kitchen window and felt bad and knew that it was his responsibility. I don't think that they deserve $9,000 for a brand new jumper, but they deserve to get it fixed and to keep making money off of it.
Right.
Case 2178, Glad versus Sawbird. All parties, please come forward.
Serenity Glad is suing her ex-girlfriend, Jennifer Sawbird, for unpaid loans.
Ms. Glad, if my memory is correct, you are suing the defendant for a series of small loans that you claim she owes you for, and those loans were created, according to you, during a period of time that you and the defendant were either involved in a relationship and or engaged.
Yes.
How long do you know each other?
We've known each other since May of 2021.
And there came a time when the defendant came to live with you, or you went to live with the defendant?
I moved to Colorado to live with her.
And when was that?
That was in May of 2022.
When you moved in with her to Colorado, were you working?
Not at the time, no.
What kind of work did you do in Colorado?
I was unemployed.
How'd you support yourself?
A friend of the family helped me out due to my disabilities.
Who pays your rent?
The friend of the family.
Do you own a car?
I did.
Do you now?
No.
Are you working now?
Not at the moment, no.
Prior to that?
I was out in Colorado.
Working?
Yes.
For whom?
It was a local coffee shop.
Okay. The point that you moved in, what loans do you claim you made to her?
I had paid part of a vet bill.
When was that?
That was at the end of May. I have the invoices here.
And what makes that a loan?
Because at the time she didn't have money and she had agreed to pay me back when she had gotten a job.
Did you agree to pay her back for this vet bill when you got a job?
No, ma'am. The friend of the family was going to pay for it all, but she insisted on paying it.
Tell me about that.
So in the vet office, I was messaging the friend of the family, and he was willing to pay it in full. And she was like, no, I'm going to pay for it. You need to quit asking him for money. I was like, he is the person that supports me right now. We do not have the money, so he's going to help us. She said that she would pay for half of it, I believe it was.
For half?
For half.
Okay.
So it was like $100.
How much was it?
$170.
Let's keep moving on.
I've been paying my data on my phone, and she keeps turning it off.
Given to her during their engagement.
Now, what other loans do you think she owes you for?
I had bought her tires for her car.
When?
That was on June 17th, I believe.
Were you using the car?
I was using the car.
Okay. For how long were you using the car?
About 2 months.
And what were you using the car for?
Getting to work.
So at that point, it was as much your vehicle as it was hers because she wasn't working. So you took the car to work.
Yes.
And the car needed tires.
Yes.
And?
So I ended up paying for them just for safety reasons, given that.
Well, it's your safety. You were driving it. Right?
That's true. Yes.
Let's move on. Next loan.
On top of that, I had to pay for vet insurance.
No. So after you left Colorado, when you were no longer a couple, did you request that she continue to pay for the vet insurance? That's either a yes or a no.
I don't remember.
Well, she says you did. How many months did you pay after you left Colorado? Show me. After you left her, you were no longer a couple. How many months did you pay?
I had ended up paying...
Just the months?
2 months.
And how much were those 2 months?
$71.46.
What's next?
After that, the biggest one is the phone that she has.
Tell me, when you got the phone, when she got a new phone, because I assume she had a phone, is that right?
I actually had just bought a brand new phone, and I insisted that I didn't need a new one.
What kind of phone did you buy?
iPhone 11 mini.
And?
I got the phone, and I have a hard time seeing, and I didn't have glasses, and I was like, it would be nice to have a larger phone. We actually originally went to get us on the same plan. I was going to keep my same phone, but I was looking at the phone. She was like, well, let's both just get new phones. I was like, that's not a good idea. She was like, well, let's just get them. It's fine. So I traded in my old phone for about $400, and we got the phone, and the agreement was, since I traded in my old phone, I still had to pay off the old phone because I just got it. So the agreement was I pay off my old phone, and to keep the service on, I would pay for my service and my data, and she would pay off the phone itself. That was our original agreement. And then a few weeks later, she's like, I never said that.
Okay. How much did you end up paying for her phone?
As of currently, there is $575 paid on her phone.
Do you still have that phone?
I do.
Can I see that there's $575 left on her phone? Not because you got two when you got new phones. So just hers.
I have this.
Is that for one phone?
That is
or
just
two?
for one phone, yes.
Okay, would you show this to the defendant, Kevin, please? And you have the phone?
I do.
And you're not paying for it?
I'm paying for the service. For what we
service.
agreed
I'm
on.
not talking about service. That receipt is for one phone.
Yes.
It says $14. That's what it says.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. And you have the phone?
I do.
Great. So $71.46 and $514 is $585. Anything else?
To this day, I am still paying for the data for that phone.
That's a lie.
Just a second.
I literally
Just a second. Cut off your data, let her get her own plan. She'll go in, she'll get her own plan. Right now, what's due and owing on the phone is $514. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
I've been paying my data on my phone, and she keeps turning it off.
Just a second. I suggest you get a new plan. You have your phone, get another
I've
plan.
been trying to, but she keeps...
I can't help you with that.
I understand.
You know, I'm not one of those, what do they call them, geniuses?
Genius bar.
Yeah, I'm not a genius person. Not with phones anyway. Okay, $71.46 and $514. My math is almost correct. It's $585.46. That's what she owes you.
$400 of that is from my old phone.
Judgment for the plaintiff. That's what she owes.
Okay.
That's what she owes on it. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
I'm okay with it.
I do think it was a very fair hearing.
I'm okay with it because I just want things to be all right between us because she's still my best friend and I still love her.
I mean, I feel the same way, I do love her. She's my best friend. Same exact thing. I just hope things smooth over.
So I think naturally when you're engaged to be married to someone, or when you're married, or even in a very serious relationship for a year, you don't keep a laundry list of expenses. I took you to dinner this night for our anniversary, here's your half. We went on vacation, here's your half. So it makes it that much more important when you're in a serious relationship like that, because in the eyes of the law, those things are sort of a wash in a relationship. So if you believe that something is really a loan, that you've both decided as partners, I know we're together, I know we do things together, that we both cover the expenses and pay for, but this $1,000 phone is outside the scope of that relationship. Let's just write something.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 2159, Baker versus Escobar.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This case involves an automobile accident. Ms. Baker, you are seeking $10,000 from Mr. Escobar, who you claim caused the accident and you a lot of grief. The accident happened on what date?
It happened on May the 18th, 2021.
Was your car insured at the time?
Yes.
Yes. And your car was insured at the time?
Yes.
Great. I don't want you to get into the specifics of the accident just yet. What I'd like you to tell me was, prior to May 18th, who were you working for?
Brand Lighting.
What were you doing for them?
I drove a forklift. I load and unload trailers.
How long had you worked for them?
About a year and a half.
Prior to that, where did you work?
I think it was distribution.
From when to when?
I worked for them for about 4 years.
Prior to that, were you constantly employed or were you on disability?
Yes, no, I was constantly employed. I was constantly employed.
Okay, prior to working for the place where you had been working in May, were you ever on any sort of disability?
Yeah,
From when to when?
May the 19th, I applied for disability because I went to the doctor.
I'm not talking about it as a result of this accident, Ms. Baker. I'm asking you, were you ever on disability before this accident?
No.
You were injured before this accident. You had a back injury before this accident. When did that take place?
That happened in 1999.
And what happened in 1999?
We had opened up the PIC module and the supervisors was there and we was walking them to show them the new opening of it. And the floors was made out of gates, but the gates wasn't pushed together and so my foot slipped down between there and my back slammed into one of the steel beams.
And were you out on any sort of a disability after 1999?
Yes, ma'am.
From when to when?
Well, I was out on disability with that. And if I was
I'm talking back to work in 2001?
Yes, ma'am.
For whom?
Hospital.
What were you doing there?
I was a supervisor in the storeroom.
How long were you working there?
I worked for 3 years.
After 2001, was there ever a period of time that you went back on disability?
I'm trying to think, yes.
And from what year to what year?
I want to say it was like 2005. My thumb got amputated off of my hand at work.
And how long were you out on disability?
A year and a half.
After that?
I think that's it for the disability. I went to work after that.
This accident occurred on May 18th, 2021. After May 18th, 2021, did you go on disability?
Yes.
From when to when?
From May of 2021 to August of 2022.
And the nature of your disability on all 3 occasions was injury to your back?
No, one of them was when my thumb got amputated off of my right hand.
Did you have any surgery on your back ever?
No, ma'am.
And you received disability from May of 2021 to August of 2022 in what amount?
I think it was $1,160 every 2 weeks.
So about $2,200 a month.
Yes.
And what happened in August of 2022?
Benefits was exonerated.
Ceased.
Yes.
And you went back to work?
No, I have not been back to work.
How are you supporting yourself now?
I just applied for unemployment right now to try to help me with my bills and my rent because I'm behind in everything.
May 2021 was traveling in the middle lane?
Correct.
And he veered off into your lane in order to make a right turn, struck your car.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. He says not true. His response says that he was in the middle lane, he was going into the right lane, and you sped up and wouldn't let him in. Is that what your defense is?
Your
and your cars collided. Or she hit you.
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay.
That is not true.
And the damage to your car, which was the red car, was where?
He caught me from the when I swerved, so he caught me from the side and he slid up to the bumper. So he hit the bumper right there, and that part of it.
Do you have photographs?
I do.
Of the
I have
car?
photos.
I'd like to take
Your
a
Honor.
look at the photographs, please.
So may I explain to you what happened, Your Honor?
With what?
May I explain to you how the incident occurred?
When did you get these estimates?
Oh, I just went to go get those estimates yesterday. I talked to them on the phone before then.
No, I don't care whether you talk to them on the phone. These estimates say you just got them within the last couple of days.
Melissa Baker claims fellow motorist Jesus Escobar damaged her vehicle while changing lanes.
Well, this was your car.
Yes, that's my car.
And this is the passenger front panel.
When he hit me, the bumper was hanging, and so then I had to pull it off because it was dragging the ground. I couldn't drive my car like that, so I ended up pulling the whole thing off. And so that's how come you see that damage on the other side of the car, too.
You have pictures of your car, sir?
Yes.
I'd like to see them. I just asked if anybody has a police report of this accident. I'd like to take a look at it. Where did you get this from?
I went to the police department the next day and did an over-the-counter report because he asked me not to call the police.
Just a second. My question to you is, where did you get this from to make a picture of it?
Oh, I had took a picture of it with my phone and emailed it to my attorneys. And so when they sent me a collective packet, that's how they sent it back to me.
Did either one of you receive a citation or a ticket as a result of this accident?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Were the police called?
No, Your Honor.
Why not?
Mr. Escobar, when he got out the car, he asked me if I was okay, and he asked me to not to call the police because he's a truck driver and he did not want that point on his driver's license. He also asked for me to pull over to the side of the road over on 4th Street so that we wouldn't be blocking the intersection and the traffic.
Well, that's a good idea.
I took a picture of his insurance information.
You remember that conversation, Mr. Escobar?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And so you said you would pay for the damage to her car.
I offered. I was trying to be
Just a second. You
generous.
said I'd...
Yes.
Well, that's a yes.
Yes.
That sounds reasonable. You said, I'll pay for the damage. Don't call the police. I don't want this to be on my license. I'll pay for the damage.
Correct.
Right?
I was bored to it, but hopefully I could have a chance to tell you what my side of the story is. But yes, that's what I said.
I passed your side of the story.
Okay.
Now I have an accident. You say one thing, she says another. We're moving on to the next issue. The next issue is she says and you acknowledge that you told estimate for your damage.
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
I'd like to take a look at it.
So I actually have two different estimates.
Did you ever have the car fixed?
No.
Okay. Thank you. What kind of car is this and what year?
It's a 2012 Kia Optima.
And you own that outright?
Yes.
When did you get these estimates?
Oh, I just went to go get those estimates yesterday. I talked to them on the phone before then.
No, I don't care whether you talk to them on the phone. These estimates say you just got them within the last couple of days.
Yeah, no,
well, this accident happened a year ago.
Yes. So I called some people to get some estimates, and they gave me some estimates over the phone. And so I called Mr. Escobar, and I told him what the estimates were.
No, listen to me carefully. What you just gave me were estimates that you got 2 days ago, which is a year and a half after this accident.
Right. Well,
okay, I want to know where the estimate is for $1,700. That's the estimate that you called him with the next day after the accident.
No, yeah.
The next day after the accident, you called him and said it cost me $1,700 to fix it. These say $4,600. Just show me the estimate for $1,700.
These are from his. That's from his insurance company. Actually, when I called him to give him the estimates of the people that I talked to on the phone, he didn't respond to me.
Listen to me carefully, madam. I'm reading from your complaint. I took my car in for an estimate.
Yes.
The next day, and I texted him the amount. He said that he did not have $1,700, and he asked if I could wait for a month. I needed to get my car fixed before then, and he suggested that we go through insurance after all. You took your car in, according to you.
Yes.
You got an estimate for $1,700.
Okay, I didn't get it in right.
$100.
Well, may I?
Yeah.
Okay, so The man gave me the estimate for the $1,700, but what he did inform me was that once
No,
they
you
start
can't
to
tell me
take-
what he informed you, madam.
Well, basically,
you can't,
what-
not basically.
Can I tell you what these people? Can I tell you what these people
No.
said?
You can't tell me what those people said either.
Well, I was trying to explain to you why it went to $4,300, but
It's not going to $4,300. The initial cost to fix your car was $1,700. You, as a matter of fact, accepted a check from his insurance company for $1,300.
I asked my attorney if I was supposed to. I'm sorry.
You accepted a check for his insurance company for $1,300. Then, according to you, they canceled the check. Okay? And I'll see the letter why they canceled the check.
Okay.
Okay. And when you accepted the check, you signed a general release, because the insurance company doesn't send a check unless you sign a general release for anything and everything surrounding the accident that took place on May 18th. That's what you sign. When you accept a check from an insurance company with regard to an accident, that's what you sign.
I had no clue as to what it was. You know, Your Honor, I referred to my attorneys and asked them what I should do, and that's what they advised me to do.
That's hearsay. Do you understand? That's hearsay. You can't tell me that. There is no attorney that would say, sign a release, and then we'll go on from there.
I asked them if I was supposed to accept the check.
You no longer have that attorney, correct?
The very next day.
Let me see.
Here's all my doctor's notes.
No, let me just see from the next day.
Okay.
Says patient is disabled as a result of chronic back pain that affects her mobility and inability to perform work as required.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? And now you work for whom?
Brand Lighting. This is also the report.
Just a second. What do you do for Brand Lighting?
Oh, I drive a stand-up reach machine, so I have to get on and off. And I also drive a forklift, sit-down forklift, where I have to climb up and down it to get on and off.
I got it. Mr. Escobar, you agreed to pay the damage to the car, correct?
Yes. Can I speak on that?
I'd like to hear your excuse. You did not present to me anything with a medical write-up that suggests at all that this accident caused you to lose anything.
Melissa Baker has accused fellow motorist Jesus Escobar of hitting her vehicle while changing lanes.
Mr. Escobar, you agreed to pay the damage to the car,
Correct.
correct?
Yes. Can I speak on that?
I'd like to hear your excuse.
Okay, at this point, at the time of the accident, which was date of loss, May 14, 2021.
May 18th or May 14th?
14.
May 14th?
14.
May I see it?
That's not true.
It says date of loss.
Shh. Okay, so this insurance company found that there is a comparative negligence statute in California, which means to the layperson that they will look at an accident and they'll say, well, it's not this accident. And they found, which is not dispositive for me, that you were 25% responsible for the accident. You agreed to pay to have the car fixed.
Yes.
That's the bottom line.
Can I explain that why?
Go ahead, you could explain all you like, but you agreed to have the car fixed.
I was trying to be reasonable due to the fact that I was a truck driver.
Mm-hmm.
I'm off for 3 weeks, come home a day or half a day, and then I'm off for another 3 weeks. I was trying not to go to court. I was trying not to make things worse.
And you agreed to pay to have the car fixed.
I agreed to pay.
I don't care what it was. Nobody put a gun to your head.
No.
You know, nobody put you under a cattle. What was it? That thing?
I have no.
Yellowstone, where
I know what you're
what
talking
is that
about.
called?
I don't know what it's a cattle guard.
Cattle guard.
Yeah.
Nobody hid you in a cattle guard. You said, don't call your insurance, I will pay for the damage. So you got to pay for the damage. And evidently it hasn't bothered you enough because you haven't had the car fixed. Do you still own the car?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, you have fixed for $1,700. Now, you have no medical people here, do you? No, there are no witnesses over there. You've had a long-standing back problem. Went to a chiropractor, you went to a lawyer, on and off disability because of your back problem, and you did not present to me anything with a medical write-up that suggests at all that this accident caused you to lose anything. And if you have it, I'll be more than happy to.
Sorry, I must have gave you the wrong thing. Okay.
Well, do you have the right thing?
I thought it was talking about the acute back pain.
No, I don't. Not that I don't care about your acute back pain, but since you don't have an expert here to testify that back pain that was as a result of this accident, and the pro forma thing that you gave me a check off, patient has chronic back pain, doesn't do it for me. So unless I have a write-up from a hospital, from a medical facility, that this accident that happened, he says on the 14th, you say it happened on the 18th.
It happened on the 18th, ma'am.
It happened on the 18th.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm sorry, I had this. Oh, here it is.
Okay. Doesn't do it.
Okay.
Doesn't do it. He's got to pay to have your car fixed. $1,700. We're finished here. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm satisfied. I'm just glad that the whole thing is over with.
I'm just glad that this is finally over.
It's been a year and a half almost, and my car is still damaged.
Pretty much, yes. I was in the middle lane trying to make a right.
The guy fabricated a lot of that stuff, but I just really want to be done with this.
She got road rage and speed her car up and hit me.
He just apologized a whole lot. He was feeling really good when he was driving. He was revving his engine a little bit because he has a Charger. Music was blaring loud. He wasn't paying attention.
I don't know how I could cut someone off and the person I'm cutting off would ends up in front of me.
I was going about my merry way and I seen him coming towards me through from my peripheral vision.
How is that possible?
And I feel sorry now that I didn't call the police and have them to come out there to the scene. I know it's a COVID time. People was having a hard time, but
people like the defendant who, for whatever reason, he was a truck driver and didn't want maybe the points on his license or even the hint of a car accident to be on his record if that's his business. However, I think it could have saved him from, number one, making a gratuitous promise to pay for the damages to her vehicle, which he might not have had to had a police officer come out and made a report. And maybe they would have found him less at fault than his own insurance company. And then he wouldn't have been so quick to offer to pay for the damages. Or conversely, the plaintiff may not have mentioned anything about any back pain, and if today was the first time she was going to bring it up, I'm sure you wouldn't have offered her anything.
Well, she didn't bring it up. She's had chronic back pain now for 22 years.
Of course.
Her allegation is that this accident exacerbated that back pain that she's had for 20 years. Then you have to come in with a medical team to talk about what the nature of her injury was before, how it was changed as a result of this accident. Without that, a pro forma note that says so-and-so has chronic back pain and she can't work is not a reason to award you $10,000 for personal injury.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway,
I just think it's a good lesson that the police get called to the scene of an accident for a reason. And although you may be concerned with other consequences of calling them, sometimes it's just the right thing to do.
Smart thing to do. Because clearly there was no issue of alcohol or drugs or driving while impaired.
Just an accident.
It was an accident. Yeah. And there was really no issue of neither one of them having insurance. They both had insurance. So it was really just, I don't want to have to deal with this. I'll deal with it. I'll pay.
And hopefully this...
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2116, Uno versus Kelly Jackson.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Uno, you purchased a duplex home, 2 different apartments.
That's correct.
In what month and year did you purchase the home?
November of 2020.
And when you purchased it, one of the duplexes was occupied by the defendants.
That's correct.
It is your claim that they owe you for rent?
Yes.
And for property damage?
That's correct.
They are no longer there?
No.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
How long were you and your wife living in the duplex before November of 2020?
We moved in June of 2019.
And at the time, do you recall who your landlord was in June of 2019?
Yes.
Between June of 2019, when you first moved in, and November of 2020, when the plaintiff bought the property, was there any work done on that property?
Not at all.
No maintenance.
No maintenance.
Okay. So from the time you moved in, the prior owner did no maintenance on that property, did no painting?
Oh, just the minor stuff before we moved in. They just painted and just had everything looking nice, the floors.
So just a second. So the prior owner painted the premises and did the floors?
Yes, it was carpet and some flooring in the kitchen.
And Mr. Uno did not do any other painting or flooring or any cosmetic work on the duplex when he purchased it in November of 2020.
No.
So whatever was there by the previous owner of the property is still there.
Yes.
I'm just asking you this because your counterclaim is for child endangerment, and the child endangerment is because of lead paint. That's what you write here.
Yes.
He didn't put in the lead paint, right?
Yes, thinking about that.
He didn't paint it. You don't know when it was painted. Maybe it was painted by the prior owner. Yes, he. I have no idea what this says.
That's the piece of paper that he gave me from the hospital.
Well, I don't understand it.
Blood work.
I'm not a doctor, so I can't.
Okay.
We have something from the health department also stating that because my son his lead was found in his system, they got involved.
I understand that. He did not paint the apartment.
No, ma'am.
When you, just for my own curiosity, when you bought this place, do you remember the purchase of it? And when you purchase a property, usually there's an inspection.
Yes.
And one of the questions usually has to do with lead paint. Do you remember any of that from when you purchased the property?
I didn't receive any notification of lead paint from the inspectors.
Well, usually they sign off that there is no lead paint.
I don't remember seeing because they never mentioned anything about it.
Nothing about lead paint? No. Okay. Did you ever have the home tested, by the way, for lead?
Only when we found out about my son having lead.
Okay. And do you have the test result?
And there was lead found in 2 places, not just the bathtub.
Miss Kelly, the issue is he didn't do any of that painting.
Right.
He bought the place. You had been living there for a year and a half before he bought the place.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. And your son was born within that year and a half.
Well, we moved there, he was 6 months.
He was 6 months old, so he lived there for a year and a half even before he purchased it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We did buy the things to fix the bathroom up. He told us to take them back to fix the tub and everything because we asked him to fix it. So the things we had, like to get the tub.
Including the baby. And how old is the other child?
She's 14.
Okay. Do you have that report?
No, this is just stating where it was at.
The health department?
Yes, I thought that piece of paper that I gave you was that one.
No.
This is just.
This doesn't say
This is just showing where the lead was found in the house.
How old is this duplex?
It was built in 1906, so almost 115 years or so.
Yeah. And they certainly used lead paint
Possibly,
then.
yeah, I'm not sure about it.
I'm not sure.
I don't
But,
understand about it.
Ms. Kelly, Mr. Jackson, that's not his fault. That's not his fault. So now I would like to know, Mr. Uno is suing you for rent. And I'd like to know first, how much rent were you paying?
$750.
And that's what you were paying under the old lease?
Yes.
And were you current on your rent when Mr. Uno took over the property?
Yes.
In November of 2020?
Yes.
So far correct?
That's accurate.
When did you stop paying rent?
December of 2021.
So you paid rent for a year?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you working, Mr. Jackson?
Yes, when I first moved in, yes, I was working 2 jobs.
And were you working from November of 2020 to December of 2021?
Yes, I was. It was.
For whom?
Yes, I was. I was working for TGI Fridays.
And Ms. Kelly, were you working?
No, ma'am, I'm disabled.
And how much were you receiving in pay?
I was only getting.
If you have to think about it, you don't remember.
Yeah, I wasn't getting too much because it was during COVID, and I was working at a restaurant, and I was only allowed to work 3 days out of the week.
Okay. And what happened in December of 2021?
What happened was he already sent us a letter previously saying that he wanted to go up on the rent to a.
Okay.
Yes. To
So you
$1,000.
had no lease anymore, and he wanted to raise the rent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I believe you. And that was the reason that you used to try to evict them before.
Yes, that was the first one, but I don't agree with his statement.
Well, what statement don't you?
Property damage. Envy and Kevin are countersuing for child endangerment and a constructive eviction.
And in what month was that?
He sent it to us, I want to say.
Do you remember, Mr. Uno?
It was 90 days before the 1st of December, so that would have been, I think, September 31st or October 31st. Maybe.
That he was raising the rent To what?
To $1,000 a month.
Effective December.
Yes, December 1st.
And what happened in December?
We were at that time looking for a new apartment, and at that time it was hard because around that time a lot of the rent was going up from just being like $800, $900 to like $1,200 to $1,400 for rent for for a month there.
Don't speak.
Okay.
And that was why we stopped paying rent, because we were actually looking for a house. Even when he gave us the 90 days.
Okay. So, Mr. Jackson, based upon what you just told me, so stop shaking your head, based upon what you told me, your landlord gave you 90 days notice that if you wished to stay on, he was raising your rent to $1,000 a month.
Yes.
And you started to look around for a new place.
Yes.
And the new places were very expensive.
Yes.
And you didn't find a place.
No.
So you decided to stay in this place.
No.
So what did you do?
We.
So if you didn't find a place
we decided
in December.
We were trying to stay there until we found a place.
I assume they paid rent in September.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
In October?
Yes.
Yes.
They paid rent in October.
Yes.
Good. And November?
November was the last month that they paid.
So they paid in November.
Yes.
So you stopped paying rent in December of 2021.
Yes.
No, you can 21. Tell me why.
We didn't want to live there ourselves anymore either, but it was just a lot of things going on at the house. Like after my father passed away, and he first gave us the first eviction notice, because he gave us more than one.
Just a second.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We're skipping over.
Okay.
He didn't give you an eviction notice, I assume, until you stopped paying rent.
No, before December, he gave us like 3 of them, I think. I want to say 3.
Really?
Yes.
Why were you trying to evict them before?
They had torn up the carpet upstairs. It was a moratorium for evictions, but there was a stipulation that emergency evictions for nuisance tenants could be granted before then.
Is there any reason why you took up the carpets?
Yes, the same thing. Before he took over, everything was in the house before that, and we complained to the previous owner that the carpet was already dirty. They said that they were going to come and shampoo it, but never did. Like, we would walk and our socks would be black, our feet would be black, so we wanted to take the carpet up. It was dirty to us. And I myself actually told him about it. I went downstairs to his apartment, because he lived downstairs from us. Talked to him about it. He came upstairs, and I showed him a section of the carpet that wasn't even connected to the floor. You can lift up the whole carpet and like across a whole section of the wall. And then when I did that, he seen that the hardwood looked kind of decent. And then instead of putting new carpet on, he wanted the hardwood to get sanded down and just get stained and and lacquered over.
So you took the carpet off?
Yes.
I believe you. Sounds right, Mr. Okay. And that was the reason that you used to try to evict them before?
Yes, that was the first one. But I don't agree with his statement.
Well, what statement don't you agree with?
Well, a number of things that he said. I didn't authorize him. We spoke. I asked him in the first meeting if there was anything that they wanted to have spruced up or anything as a good gesture, and they took it upon themselves to take up the carpet without my permission.
Okay.
It was more about their conduct, that they were being very disturbing behavior and just being off the wall. So I wanted them out for a lot of reasons.
Well, I know, but only one of them qualified under the eviction moratorium.
Yes, for emergency of dismantling the
Only
place.
one, and that would have been the carpet. Okay, Mr. Jackson.
Yes.
I'm back to you, sir. I haven't figured out yet. You stopped paying rent in December, and you moved out in what month?
We didn't move out until June.
June. So January, February, March, April, and May. Let's say 5 months' rent that you didn't pay, correct?
Yes.
Why?
Can I speak, Your Honor?
No, him. Tell me why you didn't pay the 5 months' rent, Mr. Jackson.
We just figured that, we didn't figure. We didn't want to pay him $1,000 because to us.
Okay, so let's say you didn't want to pay him $1,000, even though you just told me finding another place would be more expensive, right? You said $1,200, $1,400, but you didn't give him $750. You gave him $0 for those 5 months. So I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Jackson. Does your wife receive disability payments because of her disability?
Yes.
Yes. How much a month?
That I don't know.
How much a month do you receive, Ms. Kelly?
$1,000.
$1,000. And did you continue to receive that $1,000 every month from December until June?
Yes, ma'am.
You see, certain things remain constant. Your disability payments remain constant.
Right.
If you live in an apartment and you have the same sort of income, then you pay rent going to stay in his premises. But you paid nothing, Mr. Jackson, and that's what I don't understand.
Well, the furnace was busted.
Just a second.
Yeah.
Miss Kelly.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
What? You paid nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
Where did you move in June?
Moved in the same area, like kind of like probably 10 minutes away from that particular street.
Is it a private house or an apartment?
It's a house. Well, it's a duplex as well.
Duplex. So the same sort of setup.
Mm-hmm.
And how much rent are you paying?
Pay $9.50.
So almost as much as he wanted in his rent. But are you more comfortable in that unit?
Yes.
Okay.
My wife walked down there and asked, was he the landlord? He just said that he was the building manager. So nobody even got rent for the month of November when we lived there, not him or even the previous people, because he didn't even come upstairs to introduce us.
Well,
But,
I wouldn't complain about that, sir, if you're...
Isaac Uno claims his tenants, Envy Kelly and Kevin Jackson, owe for unpaid rent and property damage. Envy and Kevin claim Isaac forced them to leave.
Now, you saved over 5 months, let's say, minimally $750.
$37.50.
$37.50. Now, Mr. Uno, the only question that I have to ask you is, Mr. Jackson and Miss Kelly say that they filled out some sort of forms for rent relief during COVID, and you signed it. And they say you received money from the state for any unpaid rent. Did you receive any money from the state for rent that they didn't pay?
No, I approached them with an application, but the program that funds the landlord relief for the moratorium was only open for 1 month, and I came and went and I missed it and I never got it. So I did have them fill out something. It was just a hardship thing, but they didn't give me the money for it. I never received anything.
So you didn't receive any money. So far, I don't care what it is, that's what you didn't pay. And you can't save up your money and not pay your landlord. That's his business. Just like you work for Fridays and you get your pay when you're supposed to, that's his business. He bought a house. He was counting on the income from that house to pay some of his expenses, and you didn't pay it. Well, there's no question you have to pay it. Now you have a counterclaim. I've already gotten rid of child endangerment. This is 150 years old. Constructive eviction. So I'd like you to tell me your allegations of constructive eviction.
Is that like from him not doing anything to the apartment while we lived there?
I assume. You say you were
yes.
constructively evicted.
Yes, he...
But you didn't leave.
Yes, he has a couple of text messages in here where he says that he actually came up to the apartment to check things. He brought up when he first got there in November, we didn't have a working toilet until...
Just a second.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
So before he bought it, is that what you're telling me?
I mean, not before, I'm sorry. When he got the apartment in November, the previous owners, we were trying to contact to see who we pay for rent.
Just a second.
Okay, yeah.
He bought the duplex in November of 2020.
Yes.
Is what you're telling me, Mr. Jackson, that certain things weren't working prior to his purchasing the property?
No, I'm sorry. I want to take that back. After he purchased it, we didn't even know he purchased it because he was living downstairs, and my wife walked down there and asked, was he the landlord? And he just said that he was the building manager. So nobody even got rent for the month of November when we lived there, not him or even the previous people, because he didn't even...
You didn't pay him. So far you're ahead $750. Okay, keep going.
Go back to the November, So during November, our toilet got stopped up, like right before Thanksgiving.
So shortly after he purchased it, he hadn't been up in the apartment, right?
No.
Just you, your wife, your teenage daughter, and the baby.
Yeah, and the kids.
Okay. And the toilet got stopped up, and
he brought in a plumber, and then the guy found out that my son put a little toy in there, and he actually got the toy out.
So the toilet was broken by your son. Okay. So now the plumber said, here's the toy. Kid threw a toy down the toilet. Not an unusual and
then the very next month in December, my son didn't put anything down there. The toilet started acting up again. It wouldn't flush for like all the way up into the next year, and it never got fixed. But it was from...
Well, you had to have, sir, you live there with 3 adults. So there had to be a functioning toilet in the house.
It wasn't functioning.
So where did you go to use a functioning restroom?
Her mom lived up the street from us, you know, so sometimes we lived up the street, or sometimes we would just still use the toilet.
Okay. You owe him $3,750 for rent that you didn't pay. Counterclaims dismissed. We're finished. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
I had to collect monetary judgment through the courts.
You know, him being the landlord, he left us like living in crappy conditions.
It was a unbearable situation that I was going through with the noise and the disturbances.
Yeah, he never came up there at all to fix anything.
And the destruction of the property.
He just started making up so many rules, you know, to make it uncomfortable for us to live there.
Well, it was, it's pretty quiet now.
That man is crazy. I'm glad it's over with.
You know what I think is interesting, Sarah, with these cases, we've had a lot of them. The forgiveness that the government wanted to show to people came from a good place, as did some of the monies that were sent out by the government to sort of help people over a difficult time during the height of COVID. But then there are other people who suffer as a result of that, like a landlord who buys a property, a duplex property. Part of it is for income so that they can pay off mortgage, taxes, lawn service, whatever you have to pay on a house. And then the defendants, who really had no changed circumstances that they indicated to me. He was working, she was getting whatever she gets from disability, which is not insubstantial. I don't know if they get any other assistance for any of their other children, but certainly they moved into a place that's more expensive now, that's not far away. They just decided not to pay rent. And I don't think that that is the spirit of what either the federal government or the states who enacted it meant to happen, because the plaintiff owner of this property has rights too. Yeah. You've taken away a right of his.
I agree to an extent, but I also think that that's more a problem on the government's implementation of the moratorium in the first place. That's what ended up hurting the landlord. These people were simply taking advantage of a legal loophole that was created for them. He was in the restaurant business, which, as we know, was one of the toughest hit by COVID.
Right.
She was on a fixed income that wouldn't be enough to cover, well, barely enough to cover the rent on its own. And then they have to support themselves, feed themselves. They have 2 children. So I'm sympathetic towards the take.
Hi, xin chào các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về một hũ mật ong và những chiếc bánh nhé. Chúng ta cùng bắt đầu.
Ladies have a seat.
Who owns the house where